Chapter 163. Island Master, the Sea Breeze Stronghold is ready. Island Master, the 3 reinforced warships are already in place. The chassis can withstand the recoil of the elemental cannon. They are only waiting for the Island Master's order to take off. A large amount of sand and stones have been prepared at the mouth of the Dragon Chant River. The upstream dam has already reduced the amount of water discharged. All residents within a 50-kilometer radius have been relocated. Be prepared to seal off the Dragon Chant River at any time. Streams of information came in from all directions and gathered in front of Xinghui, making preparations for the upcoming battle. Everything was ready. They were only waiting for Xuanwu's message. The cub Xuanwu didn't make him wait for too long. On this day, the sea was clearly no longer calm. Wave after wave crashed against the coastline where the Sea Breeze Stronghold was located, setting off huge waves that were more than 10 meters high. When the huge waves lasted for about an hour, the Xuanwu imprint on Xinghui's arm suddenly transmitted the voice of Xuanwu's cub. "I'm coming, master, I'm coming. Too miserable, too miserable. In order to lure out the Jiuying, I've been living an inhumane life for the past few days. Master, did you know that in the past few days, I've been sleeping later than dogs and waking up earlier than chickens all the time?" Xinghui directly blocked the voice of Xuanwu's cub. Standing on top of the Sea Breeze Stronghold city wall, he raised his eyes and looked in the direction of the coastline in the distance. From there, he could clearly see a layer of waves rapidly rushing towards the Sea Breeze Stronghold. Within those waves, who knew how many powerful sea beasts were lurking? "Everyone, get ready," Xinghui said to Dan Tating, Dan Taiying, Madame Zhuyu, Yin Tao, and the others behind him. "Remember, that Xuanwu cub is my pet. You can't attack it. Now the 6 elemental cannons, start charging and raise the power to the maximum. Don't worry about the energy consumption. When the 6 elemental cannons are charging at full speed, Madame Zhuyu, Yin Tao, Dan Tating, and I will go and entangle the Jiuying. We must kill the Jiuying in one blow. Otherwise, when he senses the danger and escapes into the sea, only destruction awaits our dragon-slaying island. Do you understand?" "Understood." Dan Tating, Dan Taiying, Madame Zhuyu, Yin Tao, and the others solemnly responded at the same time. After Jiuying replaced the Xuanwu sacred beast as the overlord of the sea, he had already taken all the ordinary sea beasts and sea beasts in the sea as his own. These sea beasts and sea beasts might not be much of a threat individually, but once they gathered together and used their innate ability to trigger a tsunami, they would definitely be able to drown half of Dragon-slaying Island in the sea. Therefore, when Xinghui said that if Jiuying escaped into the sea carelessly, Dragon-slaying Island would be destroyed, he wasn't exaggerating. The warships take off and the cannons start charging. Dan Taiying will be in charge of commanding. Yin Tao and Dan Tating will protect Madame Zhuyu. The few of us will set up an ambush at the mouth of the Dragon Chant River. Once Jiuying enters the Dragon Chant River, we will immediately start charging at full speed. It will take about 10 breaths of time for the Elemental Annihilation Cannon to finish charging at full speed. When it's charging at full speed, it will release a vast amount of energy fluctuations. Jiuying will definitely be able to sense it, and will definitely try to escape into the sea when he realizes that his life is in danger. At that time, I will go and stop him. As for Madame Zhuyu, you will use all your strength to activate the soul-sucking bell and cooperate with me. Understood?" This subordinate understands. Madame Zhuyu replied cautiously. "Good. Let's go to the mouth of the river. Do everything you can to restrain your aura." Xinghui gave the order and led the 3 Unity of Divine Qi experts straight to the mouth of the river. At this time, the waves stirred up by Jiuying were becoming more and more violent. Even the ordinary soldiers on the Sea Breeze fort could clearly see the white line at the end of the ocean. However, perhaps due to the lack of time, the waves were much smaller than the ones the Sea Breeze fort had faced before. Although the defenders on the Sea Breeze fort were nervous, they didn't lose their fighting spirit. Finally, the waves stirred up by the sea beasts reached the front of the Sea Breeze fort. The one running at the front was naturally the Xuanwu cub. In Xinghui's impression, Xuanwu had always been slow, He never thought that this Xuanwu cub would be able to escape with such speed. It was truly an eye-opener for him. "Master, save me!" The Xuanwu cub, who had escaped into the Dragon Chant River, let out a mournful cry as if it was on the line between life and death. But in reality, Xinghui didn't find any particularly serious injuries on the Xuanwu cub. Since it wasn't dead, Xinghui couldn't be bothered to pay attention to it. At this time, many sea beasts appeared in front of Xinghui. The one at the front was a holy beast Jiuying, full of anger. Compared to the 4th-level holy beast Jiuying from before, this Jiuying had completed its transformation and evolved into a true holy beast, just as Xinghui had guessed. However, it was still at the 5th level, and its physique wasn't mature yet. Although it looked very powerful, it was still slightly inferior to a true holy beast Jiuying. "Get ready!" Xinghui shouted in a deep voice. Madame Zhuyu, Yin Tao, and Dan Tating were suddenly nervous. A peak 5th-level holy beast Jiuying's combat strength wasn't inferior to an immortal level 6 human expert. It was definitely an overlord in the relatively stable ocean. If it was in the past, the entire dragon-slaying island would be in danger of being destroyed when faced with such a terrifying sea beast. As for killing such an overlord in the ocean, it was even more unthinkable. However, today, under the leadership of Xinghui, they were planning to kill such a terrifying overlord. It was the first time that Dragon-Slaying Island's plan against the sea beasts had changed from defense to offense. Just thinking about it made their blood boil. Rumble, the 9-headed fierce beast swept up the monstrous waves and violently crashed into the mouth of the Dragon Chant River. Suddenly, a monstrous wave was created. Countless streams of water were splashed into the void and then fell down in all directions. On the other hand, Qing Su and the others who were hiding in the mouth of the river were directly drenched by the surging waves. However, they were all prepared beforehand. They stabilized themselves, so they were not swept away by the waves. Charge it at full speed. Seeing that Jiuying had already rushed thousands of meters into the Dragon Chant River, Dan Taiying, who was in the Sea Breeze Fortress, felt that the time was ripe, immediately ordered. Buzz buzz! Suddenly, 6 powerful waves of energy were released, spreading across the Sea Breeze Fortress, and the 3 warships that were flying rapidly in the void. Sensing the powerful waves of energy, Jiuying's holy beast that had initially looked down on the humans in the Sea Breeze Fortress suddenly raised its 9 heads and roared angrily at the 3 warships and the Sea Breeze Fortress in the void. It seemed to be scolding the humans for ruining its plan. However, when the Sea Breeze Fortress and the battleships saw that the energy-destroying cannons' charging efficiency did not slow down, and that the energy waves they emitted were getting stronger and stronger, even though the 9-headed fierce beast was unwilling to give up, it had no choice but to turn around in anger and flee towards the sea. However, although it had temporarily retreated due to its fear for its life, the mini sea monsters that it had swept over had split into 3 groups. One of them continued to pursue the black tortoise cub, while the other 2 groups respectively pounced on the battleship in the void and the Sea Breeze Fortress. The leader of each group was a level 4 sea monster, and it seemed like they were going to completely uproot the human forces on Dragon-Slaying Island. Attack! Seeing that Jiuying wanted to escape into the sea, Xinghui let out a low roar and flew up on his sword. Like a stream of light, he shot towards the Jiuying. In the void, he had already activated the divine technique that had finished its cooldown. A shadow of a golden crow with a wingspan of more than 30 meters suddenly appeared behind him. It was like a blazing sun, emitting endless heat and light. Roar! Sensing the powerful energy contained in Xinghui's body and the 6 energy cannons that were charging, Jiuying suddenly became anxious. It continuously spat out flames and water pillars from its mouth, forming a powerful torrent that rushed towards Xinghui's body. However, Xinghui still had to slightly dodge the water pillars, but the flames that contained thousands of degrees of heat. Buzz! As a layer of red light flashed on the surface of Xinghui's body, the terrifying flames that could melt gold and iron were directly absorbed by this layer of red light. It didn't cause any damage to Xinghui at all. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Xinghui directly charged towards Jiuying. The bright light that erupted from the Jin Wu religion was like a falling sun. As he waved his sword, it slashed towards Jiuying's body. Roar! Sensing the danger, Jiuying let out an angry roar, and a large amount of water and fire energy gathered in the void in front of it. However, before this power could gather to its limit, a crisp bell suddenly rang across the battlefield. Under the influence of this bell, Jiuying, a holy beast that wasn't good at spiritual cultivation, suddenly went into a trance. The water and fire energy that it had gathered was actually showing signs of dissipating. Xinghui wouldn't let go of such a good opportunity. Slash! Rumble! As he slashed down with his sword, a terrifying torrent of energy completely erupted. It was as if a scorching sun had lit up in the void. The intense light was so dazzling that the ordinary people in Sea Breeze Fortress could barely open their eyes. The heat waves and shock waves that could burn the void continued to sweep in all directions, completely burning the water in the void into steam. At this time, if someone stepped into the range of 1,000 meters, they would definitely be instantly cooked by the terrifying steam and air. Even an awakening realm expert, or a true chi expert would not be able to escape death. One slash of the sword was enough to kill all living things within 1,000 meters. He's so powerful. Compared to when he killed the Dragon Whale Island's owner, the current owner has become even more powerful. Even Jiuying, a holy beast that's comparable to an immortal level rank 6 human, dares to fight him head-on. Our dragon-slaying island has an expert like the owner of the island. How can we not prosper? If this mission is successful, the entire dragon-slaying island will probably become one of the biggest overseas forces, since we've killed a peak-stage holy beast, Jiuying. We'll attract countless experts to join us. On the Sea Breeze Fortress, Dan Taiying and Dan Tai's second son, Dan Tai Eagle, who was originally in charge of guarding the fortress, widened their eyes at the same time. They were shocked as they stared at the scorching sun at the end of the sky. Roar! Jiuying's holy beast roared painfully in the scorching light. There was a hint of fear in its voice. It tried to break out of the encirclement, but it was blocked by Xinghui. There was no way for it to escape at all. At this moment, a total of 6 elemental cannons on the 3 battleships and the Sea Breeze Fortress were finally fully charged. As 6 terrifying energy pillars pierced through the void, the holy beast Jiuying's huge body was instantly engulfed by the 6 torrents of energy. Chapter 164. Rumble. The earth rumbled. 6 elemental energy-destroying cannons fired at the same time, which was equivalent to 6 immortal stage 6 powerhouses, attacking with all their might. Although it could not be compared to the eternal blazing sun of the Jin Wu religion, in terms of area of effect, its individual power was not below the eternal blazing Sunday light, and high heat completely flooded the dragon-roaring river. In the burning waves, the sacred beast Jiuying let out a painful scream. Large amounts of blood dripped from its huge body, and then it frantically rushed towards the sea. It knew very well that only by diving into the depths of the sea could it truly be called an overlord. If it continued to fight in such a restrictive environment like the dragon-roaring river, only death would await it. However, Xinghui had spent so much effort to kill it, so how could he be willing to watch it escape? Looking at the huge sacred beast with 3 huge holes in its body, and 2 of its heads missing, Xinghui took a deep breath. In the next moment, all the power in his body surged out like a torrent, pouring into the Golden Crow sword, and then detonating it with a secret technique. Sun Glory. Bang! In the void, it was as if a blazing sun had appeared. After the endless true chi was condensed to the extreme, it was continuously heated and detonated, forming a fission reaction. This caused the power of the sword, which originally only contained ordinary true chi, to be magnified several times, forming a destructive blow. In an instant, the sacred beast Jiuying's huge body was completely torn apart, and a bloody hole with a diameter of more than 10 meters quickly formed. Roar! Accompanied by a final mournful scream, the sacred beast Jiuying's aura rapidly weakened. Once again, it swept up the torrent and rushed forward for less than 500 meters. Finally, it howled and fell into the dragon-roaring river. Phew! Looking at the huge beast that finally fell, Xing Hui, who had used up all the energy in his body, let out a long sigh. Clean up the mess. Xing Hui did not have time to rest. Raising his sword, he quickly rushed towards the other level 4 sea beasts. Yin Tao, Madame Dogwood, Dan Tating, and the others followed closely behind. Although the scale of the waves this time wasn't as large as the previous one, the quality of the sea beasts was far superior to the ones Sea Breeze Fort had encountered the last time. Not to mention third-order sea beasts, there were even 8 or 9 fourth-order sea beasts. However, with the death of Jiuying, these Type 4 sea beasts had lost their leader and had no intention of attacking. They quickly turned around and killed their way back along the river. With Xing Hui, Yin Tao, Madame Dogwood, Dan Tating, and the others taking care of the 3 Class 4 sea beasts, the rest of the sea beasts quickly fled into the ocean and disappeared without a trace. As soon as these sea beasts retreated, the crisis of Sea Breeze Fort was naturally resolved. Dan Tating, you're in charge of cleaning up the battlefield. Yin Tao will assist you. Madame Dogwood, come with me. Seeing the sea beasts retreat, Xing Hui quickly gave orders to Dan Tating and the others. Yes, Dan Tating and the others complied and headed towards the corpses of the Class 4 sea beasts. Each of these sea beasts' corpses could be considered a treasure. If the blood essence of these corpses could be refined and given to spirit refining cultivators with similar bloodlines, it would greatly shorten their cultivation time and allow them to cultivate to the peak of the spirit refining realm. After instructing Dan Tating and the others, Xing Hui directly leapt up and flew on his sword. He caught up to the Xuanwu cub that was lying on the ground like a dead fish not far from Sea Breeze Fort. Lead the way immediately. Take advantage of the fact that the other Class 5 sea beasts in this area still don't know about Jiuying's death. Go to your sister's cave and take out the sea map and anything that can help you evolve. I'm going to die. Bao Bao's injuries are too heavy. I can't move. Xing Hui frowned and directly slashed down. The blazing sword chi was like a whip that exploded on the Xuanwu cub's body, causing it to let out an exaggerated shrill cry. Do you believe that I won't turn you into a dead turtle? Lead the way immediately. Wo will lead the way. I'll lead the way full of grievances. The Xuanwu cub immediately swam rapidly in the Dragon Cry River, heading straight for the depths of the sea. Xing Hui still had the water-splitting pearl that Yin Huang had given him, so it wouldn't be a problem for him to bring Madame Zhuyu to the depths of the sea. As for the Xuanwu cub, it was a sacred beast in the water. When it came to the ability to control water, there was almost no creature in the world that could compare to it. Sitting cross-legged on the Xuanwu cub, the group quickly traversed the sea and quickly overtook Jiuying's defeated troops. After rushing for 3 days, they arrived at an area with almost no signs of human habitation. Master, it's just ahead. As a small island with a diameter of less than 1 kilometer appeared in front of them, the Xuanwu cub immediately became excited. Master, let me tell you, Big Sister is the most powerful overlord in this area. Not to mention small monsters like the Hydra. Even the rulers of the nearby seas have to give her good gifts every few years or decades to show their filial piety to her. There are all kinds of treasures in her cave. Master, you can definitely return with a full load. I hope so. With that, Xing Hui dived into the depths of the sea with the Xuanwu cub on his back. As the former overlord of the seas, Jiuying had left behind a quasi-holy beast to personally guard the cave. This quasi-holy beast with Jiuying's bloodline was obviously its personal guard and was highly regarded by it, which was why it had been entrusted with such an important task. Unfortunately, although this Jiuying had Class 4 battle prowess, it was only at the early stage of Class 4. When Madame Zhuyu summoned the soul-sucking bell and caused it to fall into a trance, the Xuanwu cub fiercely pounced on it and quickly killed the Jiuying, dyeing the seabed red with its blood. After killing the half-step holy beast Jiuying, the black tortoise spread its legs and impatiently arrived at the cave that had traces of life. Although Xuanwu holy beasts were not much inferior to humans in terms of intelligence, the cave they built didn't have the beauty that humans should have. It was almost like an underwater cave. At this time, the cave was in a sealed state, and a huge rock blocking the entrance flickered with a cold red light. Hui stared at the red light for a moment, and couldn't help but feel his heart palpitate. Clearly, the danger behind the red light was enough to pose a fatal threat to him, who had cultivated his divine stellar energy to perfection. However, with the Xuanwu cub around, they clearly didn't need to forcibly break through the cave's defenses. As the Xuanwu cub didn't know how to control it, the huge rock flickered with red light, and a 5-meter-tall entrance quickly appeared. Okay, it's open. The black tortoise impatiently swam into the cave dwelling. Its expression was filled with excitement. Sister left me a lot of water spirit essences, and told me to eat them slowly. Save them and don't waste them. I'm so pitiful now that I'm in a life and death crisis. I can finish all the water spirit essences in one go, right? Even if Big Sis comes back and asks, Bao Bao will have enough reasons. There's no danger in the cave, right? Hui followed the Xuanwu cub into the cave. No. Big Sis was afraid that I would run around, so she didn't set up any traps in the cave. The most powerful trap is at the entrance. She left a drop of essence blood clone at the entrance. If it's attacked, it will manifest Big Sis' image and kill the enemy. A drop of essence blood. Hui was alarmed. Hui had guessed that the Xuanwu cub's big sister was at least rank 7, and the essence blood clone of a rank 7 divine beast was no weaker than a rank 6 divine beast. And a rank 6 divine beast in an underwater environment. Even a saint-level expert would have to nurse a grievance if they came here, right? Hui's eyes brightened at this thought. What was the point of looking for a map to the outer sea? This cave abode was the safest place to hide. What was the point of looking for a map to the outer sea? This cave abode was the safest place to hide. Madame Zhuyu, guard the entrance in case any sea beasts try to barge in. Hui ordered. Yes, Madame Zhuyu answered respectfully. Master, don't be so polite. Treat this as your own home. Just take whatever you like. I'm very generous. I'll give it to you. The Xuanwu cub led the way and spoke like an old man. As he spoke, he emphasized the word generous. Obviously, he was complaining that Hui was harsh and stingy to him. You're not young in terms of age. Why do you call yourself baby? Didn't your big sister give you a name? Hui couldn't be bothered to pay attention to the Xuanwu cub, but he couldn't help but ask. She did. My name is Hao Ming. Hao is in heaven and earth. Ming is in the underworld. It means that in the future, I'll be able to go anywhere. How is it? Domineering, right? Good. From now on, you'll call yourself by your name. Hui made the final decision. Why? I'm still young. It's settled then. Now, let's see what treasures are in this cave that you've been bragging about. After Hui finished speaking, he didn't give the Xuanwu cub a chance to object. He walked past him and went into the depths of the cave. Sacred beasts were not inferior to humans in terms of intelligence. They had their own unique civilization. The layout of the cave was not simple and violent like that of ordinary beasts and sea beasts. They could live in just by digging a hole. The entire cave was divided into several rooms, or rather caves. Hui went to the first room, based on the principle of being closest. What entered his eyes was a large number of shiny gems and minerals. However, Su rummaged through it carefully, and his face immediately sank. These minerals and gems were mainly gems. If they were in the mortal world, they would be priceless, and could be exchanged for large amounts of gold and silver. However, to Hui they were useless. After rummaging for a while, he found 3 5th-grade materials, and 1 6th-grade material. This could be considered as a slight comfort to his wounded heart. After leaving this room, Hui quickly came to another room. In this room, there were also all kinds of strange things. There were corals, rocks, minerals, and even some ornaments made by mortals. Hui suppressed the disappointment in his heart. He picked the tallest things out of the shortest, and found 6 4th-grade materials, and 2 5th-grade materials. There were a total of 6 rooms. He had already excavated 2 of them, and his harvest was very little. As for the next 4 rooms, he had an ominous premonition in his heart. Could it be that after mobilizing so many people to kill a 5th-grade sacred beast, Zhuang only got a few consolation prizes in the end? Sure enough, to have such an unreliable younger brother, that overlord of the sea is obviously not that reliable. I should have thought of this earlier. Sing Hui took a deep breath and prepared himself for disappointment. He turned and went to the third room again. However, when he really came to the third room and saw the many items placed in the room, his eyes lit up with joy. These. Chapter 165. There were no gems or treasures in the room, but there were a large number of skeletons. Yes, skeletons. These skeletons were the spoils of war left behind by the sacred beast Xuanwu when it was conquering the sea. None of the spoils of war that it had purposely left behind and collected could be considered mediocre. Qingsu glanced over. Judging from the bones, he arrived at a conclusion very soon. There were a total of 6 skeletons here. 3 of them were relatively well preserved, while the other 3 were damaged. However, without any exception, they were all Class 7 vicious beasts. 7th-level ferocious beasts and sea beasts were top-notch materials in the entire eastern wasteland. If these materials were sold to alchemists, and blacksmiths, they would definitely be able to create 5th-level or even 6th-level pills and weapons. Now that he had obtained the corpse of a Class 7 vicious beast from 6 blessings, his trip to Green Ruins could be said to have not been in vain. Very good. With a smile on his face, Sing Hui could not wait to put all these things into his personal space. With enough harvest, Sing Hui's mood was obviously better. He turned and walked to the 4th room. The room, or in other words, the cave, seemed extremely messy. Various miscellaneous items were placed everywhere, without any order at all. Moreover, Qingsu did not see anything valuable with a single glance. Master, this is baby. This is Hao Ming's bedroom. Please respect my privacy. Sing Hui looked here for a moment. Xuanwu cub Hao Ming ran in and blocked Sing Hui's way. Sing Hui glanced and saw that there was indeed nothing valuable. He then turned and walked to the 5th room. Did you find the water spirit essence? Found it. It's all in my sister's room. Although it hid these things well, I already knew where it hid them. I was just afraid of being punished, so I didn't dare to take them out secretly. Now that it's gone, I can eat as much as I want. Is that so? You should be able to feel that the number of masters around me is increasing. If you don't evolve, don't blame me for not bringing you to conquer the world. No, I didn't have the water spirit essence before, so my evolution was slow. With the water spirit essence, I can quickly complete the first transformation. At that time, I will directly transform from the newborn stage to the infant stage. Hao Ming hastily said. He was fearful that Sing Hui would toss him into the small pond for several more months. Infant stage. As one of the 6 saints, the Xuanwu sacred beast was one of the top existences among the sacred beasts. Depending on the difference in their physique, their strength was between the 2nd order and the 4th order. Once they entered the juvenile stage, they would at least have the strength of the 5th order. If the transformation went smoothly, they could even reach the 6th order. As for the growth and maturity stages, those were the Saint realm. Unless Hao Ming consumed a mature Xuanwu's Niden, it was impossible for him to step into those 2 stages in a short period of time. Evolve well. I hope to see the day when you become the overlord of the ocean. Sing Hui said. Under Hao Ming's guidance, they arrived at the master's room. Almost at the same time as he stepped into the room, several prompts sounded in his mind through the Chaos Temple. Discovered Dao Carrier. Dao Rhyme Value 1. Will you integrate it? Discovered Dao Carrier. Dao Rhyme Value 3. Will you integrate it? Discovered Dao Carrier. Dao Rhyme Value 3. Will you integrate it? Dao Carrier? Sing Hui's eyes lit up slightly. The next moment, he directly followed the prompts and arrived at a large box that was specially kept. There were several treasures of different shapes and sizes in the box. These treasures were either statues, gems, or broken jade. They were of different shapes and sizes. Sing Hui did a quick count. There were 12 of them. According to the prompts, these 12 items contained a total of 26 Dao rhymes. Although Xuanwu has the intelligence of a human, Xuanwu without a master rarely has the habits of a human. Now that it has put all these things in a box, it seems that the Xuanwu lineage has the means to find Dao Carrier? As Sing Hui spoke, he directly called out to Xuanwu cub Hao Ming, "Come here." Hao Ming immediately dashed out. When it saw the Dao carrier in front of Tsing Hui, it was slightly startled. Then, a trace of annoyance flashed through its eyes. It hurriedly presented the mini Dao carrier items in the box to Tsing Hui. With a fawning expression it said, "Master, these are all treasures that my sister and I have collected over the years. Will these treasures be of use to you? Don't stand on ceremony. Take them. As your most loyal companion, it's only right that I give you these items. It's just a small token of my appreciation." Tsing Hui immediately understood the reason for Hao Ming's change in mood. After returning to his sister's cave residence, the only thing on its mind was its water spirit essence. The reason it was annoyed was that it felt that it had missed an opportunity to curry favor with its master with Dao carrier items. "I've received your kind intentions." Tsing Hui nodded. "But I'm very curious. How did you know that these items would be of use to me, or to the Son of Chaos? It's in our inherited memories. Moreover, these items, as well as you, Master, all have a special aura. As long as we sense this aura, we know that Master is the great Son of Chaos." Speaking of this, Hao Ming looked somewhat reverently at Tsing Hui. With a fawning expression it said, "The special aura on Master's body is getting stronger and stronger. Clearly Master has become stronger and stronger. No wonder I, Hao Ming, have chosen you as my master. You are indeed wise and mighty, and your future is limitless." Tsing Hui was now at the 19th level of chaos. At this stage, no one in the entire Eastern Wilderness could surpass him. Even the sect master of the Creation Mystical Sect was no exception, not only in the Eastern Wilderness, but even in the entire world, including the Infinite Wasteland domain. A 19th level Son of Chaos was a first-class existence. Even in the top 10 major forces like the Celestial Dome domain, there were probably no more than 100 Sons of Chaos who had reached the 19th level. This showed how extraordinary a 19th level Son of Chaos was. Sons of Chaos, the chosen ones of the Master of Chaos. What is the meaning of their existence? Tsing Hui muttered to himself. However, after a while, he felt that his worries were unfounded. There was no need for him to consider these unrealistic questions. It was better to study how to get through the current trouble as soon as possible, as well as how to shatter the vacuum and return to Earth. "Master, in fact, there are many things here that should be useful to you human cultivators. These are the spoils of war that my sister obtained when she defeated those powerful humans." As Hao Ming spoke, he led Tsing Hui to the last room. On the floor of the room, there were dozens of scattered divine weapons and armor. Some of these armors seemed to have a long history, while others seemed to be newly cast. Most of them had been damaged in battle, but there were still a dozen or so that were in good condition. Tsing Hui scanned the room for a moment, and his gaze immediately fell on a flying sword. "This is..." In the next moment, he strode forward and quickly arrived in front of the golden flying sword. Powerful sword intent immediately poured into the flying sword, obliterating the spiritual imprint of the owner of the flying sword, who had died a long time ago. Buzz buzz! As the flying sword was controlled by Tsing Hui, the flying sword quickly circled around him. Its speed was so fast that it could move at will. A 6th order flying sword? And it's a 6th order upper grade flying sword. Tsing Hui's eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. Armors were half a tier higher than divine weapons, and flying swords were usually 1 tier higher than divine weapons. If a 6th tier upper grade flying sword were to be sold, it would definitely be able to fetch the price of a 7th tier upper grade divine weapon. With such a flying sword, even if it was brought to the top of the 10 sacred sects, it would be enough to become a top-notch existence. I have some recollection of this sword. It was about 20 years ago. The owner of this sword brought 4 powerful humans to kill my sister and refine her essence and blood. However, my sister showed weakness and lured them into the sea to defeat them. In the end, only 2 of the 4 humans escaped. As Hao Ming spoke, he looked at the flying sword with a trace of fear in his eyes. That was my sister's most tragic battle. After the battle, she was severely injured and took more than half a year to recover. Tsing Hui immediately knew that this was a team of top experts from the Eastern Wilderness who wanted to kill the Saint Realm Xuanwu and refine his essence and blood to break through. To be able to kill a Saint Stage Xuanwu expert, One had to be at the 6th level of the longevity stage with saint techniques, or one had to be at the saint stage themselves. These people were all patriarch-level existences in the 10 great sacred sects, let alone the third-tier forces like the Golden Crow sect and Green Lotus Sword sect. Even the second-tier forces like the Hunyuan Heavenly sect, Six God and Demon Dao, Shenshao Sword sect, and other forces did not have more than 5 such people. How could the things they left behind be bad? Perhaps these divine weapons would be even more valuable than the 26 Taoist rhymes. Thinking of this, Xing Hui eagerly looked at the divine weapons. A 7th-order divine weapon. It's damaged. This armor is also a 7th-order divine weapon. It's a pity that it's so badly damaged that it can only be restored to a mid-6th-order divine weapon, or even a low 6th-order divine weapon. There's an upper 5th-order flying sword here. Good stuff. This flying sword was probably a low 6th-order divine weapon before it was damaged, right? Sigh. Don't you know how to be merciful? Is this a flying treasure similar to Feather Moon? It looks like it's a 5th-order divine weapon. Good stuff. And these? Xing Hui's face was filled with faint joy. Although most of these divine weapons were damaged, he was still extremely satisfied with the final harvest. Among the 83 divine weapons, less than half of them were worthless. Out of the 33 divine weapons, 22 of them could be recycled as materials, 16 of them could still be used to a certain extent, and 12 of them were perfectly preserved. Among the 12 divine weapons, there were 3 6th-order divine weapons, 1 6th-order divine armor, and 1 6th-order flying sword. The rest were 5th-order divine weapons. Among the 5th-order divine weapons, the most valuable ones were the high 5th-order divine weapon, the Holy Winged Dragon Eagle, the high 5th-order flying sword, the flying feather, and the high 5th-order divine weapon, the water-driving pearl, which was specially prepared to deal with Xuanwu's saint beast. Although these treasures were only 5th-order divine weapons, their value was not inferior to 6th-order divine weapons. Chapter 166. I have a lot of materials on me right now. Once the cooldown of the divine blessing is over, I can even use these materials, and the remains of the divine weapon, to forge a 7th-grade divine weapon. Xing Hui glanced at the materials, and put them all into his personal space. Hao Ming, it's not safe for you to stay here. Take the water spirit essence, and go cultivate outside North Sea City. It won't be too late for you to return, and reclaim your position as the overlord of the seas when you've completed your transformation. Back to that little pond again? The infant black tortoise, Hao Ming, immediately revealed a distressed expression. The bloodline of the sacred beast Xuanwu is likely to give birth to many sea beasts that haven't transformed yet. If you don't want to become the prey of those 5th-grade sea beasts, taking refuge on Dragon Slaying Island is the best choice. Xing Hui explained patiently, which was rare of him. I understand. Xing Hui brought Xuanwu Hao Ming out of the cave again. Hao Ming then closed the cave and floated to the surface with Madame Duyu, who was guarding outside. Xing Hui landed on the small island that was less than a kilometer in diameter and quickly activated the sacred winged draconic eagle he'd just obtained. The sacred winged draconic eagle was similar to the sacred winged golden rock that Xing Hui had seen in Ling Yu's hands, but it was smaller in size. As Xing Hui activated his qi and unfolded the sacred winged draconic eagle, a gigantic creature with a wingspan of nearly 10 meters appeared in front of them, a product of the Alchemy Valley's sacred winged draconic eagle series. Madame Duyu looked at the unfolded sacred winged draconic eagle with envy. This sacred winged draconic eagle has reached the upper 5th grade. There aren't many of them even in Alchemy Valley. It must have been owned by someone important. When Qing Su heard that, he secretly committed it to memory. There were not a lot of high-grade Class 5 saintly winged dragonhawks for sale, so to avoid any trouble, it would be best to reconstruct them into a saintly winged golden pung. The group then returned to Dragon Slaying City. Xing Hui summoned a few cultivators with the ability to refine weapons. After asking them to remodel the appearance of the sacred winged draconic eagle, he directly counted the gains from this trip to the Xuanwu Sacred Beast Cave. 3 6th-level divine weapons, 1 set of armor, and 1 flying sword. Xing Hui naturally wanted to keep the flying sword for himself. As for the armor, it was an earth elemental armor, which was also incompatible with Xing Hui's own element. There was no suitable candidate among the upper echelons of dragon-slaying island. Xing Hui could only stay and see if he could exchange it for some top treasures. As for the remaining level 6 divine weapons, Xing Hui planned to leave one for Yun Tao and keep the other 2 for himself. Madame Dogwood's most powerful weapon was the soul-sucking bell, so a divine weapon might not be of much help to her. If she were to give him anything, she would only give him the grade 5 armor and the grade 4 Qingxian sword. As for Dan Tating, the reward of a level 6 divine weapon was too great, and he couldn't afford it. Calculating the time, there were only 12 days left until the trade fair in Lingyu, so Xing Hui didn't dare to delay. After resting for 2 days, he summoned Dan Tating, Dan Taiying, and the others and gave them a series of instructions. Then, he took Madame Dogwood, Yun Tao, and a huge amount of resources, summoned the sacred winged draconic eagle, and headed inland. The reason why he didn't take the warship was mainly because of his current status. The major forces in the inland had great monitoring of overseas experts of the unity of spirit realm. It was better when he had just taken over dragon-slaying island, and his reputation had yet to spread. But now, as time passed, dragon-slaying island had gained some reputation overseas. If he piloted the warship of dragon-slaying island into the inland, he would definitely be targeted immediately. This wasn't in line with his original intention of going to Blazing Mountain. The level 5 upper grade sacred winged draconic eagle was extremely fast, several times faster than warships of the same level. It could reach a speed of 600 kilometers per hour, even though it needed someone to be in charge of piloting it. It also consumed a lot of spirit stones, costing hundreds of spirit stones per hour. Blazing Glory's Colored Glaze Island's annual income was only 4,000 spirit stones. In other words, the sacred winged draconic eagle needed to fly for 2 days and 2 nights to squander all of Colored Glaze Island's income. Fortunately, Xing Hui's status as the owner of dragon-slaying island couldn't be compared to before. In addition, he didn't use the sacred winged draconic eagle often, so this consumption was within an acceptable range. After flying at full speed for 4 days, the sacred winged draconic eagle finally stepped into the territory of the Jinwu religion. After flying for another 3 days, the endless mountain range of Blazing Mountain finally appeared in front of them. It was now less than 3 days before Lingyu's transaction. Standing in front of the window of the sacred winged draconic eagle, Xing Hui looked down. What he saw was a rather barren mountain range, and in the center of this mountain range, there was a tall volcano. If he looked carefully, he could even see billowing smoke from the mouth of the volcano from time to time. There were 2 main sources of energy for cultivation in the Jinwu religion. One was refined and absorbed from the scorching sun, while the other came from the earth fire. Because of this, the earth fire ran rampant in the Jinwu religion, and volcanoes were common. If I remember correctly, after passing Blazing Mountain and traveling another 10,000 kilometers, we will arrive at the number 1 city of the eastern wilderness, Wanxiang City, right? Xing Hui said. It is indeed Wanxiang City. Madame Zhuyu replied. Wanxiang City, Heavenly Medicine Alliance, Alchemy Valley, Drifting Wind Mountain, and the Martial God Tower are the 5 strongest factions under the 10 great sections. Although these 5 factions cannot compare to the 10 great sects in terms of foundation, the 10 great sects would have to pay a heavy price to destroy them. In addition, they are relatively close neighbors and have allied with each other, making the 10 great sects wary of them. As time passed, they managed to survive between the cracks of the 10 great sections. Apart from paying some tribute to their neighbors, the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect, Jinwu Religion, Green Lotus Sword Sect and Giant Dragon Mountain Range, they are not under the jurisdiction of the 10 great sections. The Martial God Tower and Drifting Wind Mountain are slightly inferior to Wanxiang City, Heavenly Medicine Alliance and Alchemy Valley, especially Wanxiang City, which is known as the number 1 city in the eastern wilderness. Who dares to underestimate it? The city lord of Wanxiang City is said to be an invincible figure who can contend against saint experts. The city he established is a truly prosperous and dazzling place, a holy land for unaffiliated cultivators. I happen to obtain many treasures in the Xuanwu cave abode. After this matter is over, I will directly head to Wanxiang City to deal with them and exchange them for cultivation resources. Wanxiang City is indeed the best choice for goods, but the processing fee is a little too high. It's fine. As long as Wanxiang City can truly guarantee the safety of the transaction, what's wrong with giving them some processing fee? At least we won't have to worry about being taken advantage of like in 100 Ocean City. Madame Zhuyu saw that Xing Hui had made up his mind and did not say anything else. Can you control the Qingxian sword? A trace of gratitude flashed across Madame Zhuyu's eyes. Island Lord, I can already control the Qingxian sword like an extension of my arm. That's good. Even though I have the treasure wheel boundary and a 6th grade flying sword, we still need a deeper layer of insurance to prevent any accidents. If Lingyue senses that something is wrong and plans to escape in time, you can chase after her and use the soul-sucking bell to interfere with her, even if it's just for a moment. This will make our mission to capture her much smoother. I understand. Madame Zhuyu replied respectfully. Xing Hui nodded. All that was left was to wait. As they waited, 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Island Lord, it's time. Qing Su was calm, but he had split a portion of his consciousness into the Chaos Divine Hall. Don't worry. I don't believe Lingyue would be so kind as to hold a trade with the merchants of the Heavenly First Treasure Pavilion peacefully. There's a 99% chance that this so-called trade is a scam. Let's just wait here for Feng Hui to contact me. Yes. Madame Zhuyu replied and continued to wait. This wait lasted for an entire day. Just when Madame Zhuyu felt that this transaction might not be a problem, Feng Hui's figure suddenly appeared in Xing Hui's personal space. His face was filled with panic. Lord Pak Hui, you were right. This is a trap. Leader Lingyue is actually such a person. Lord Pak Hui, save us, please save us. Tell me your location immediately. Xing Hui's eyes flashed. We're in an underground cave, under the blazing flame mountain's 9th peak. Lingyue and the people of the Jinwu religion have sealed the only exit of the cave. There's no way out for us. Feng Hui's face was filled with regret and grief. There was even a trace of despair in his expression. Before he could finish speaking, his figure suddenly dissipated. Clearly, his consciousness was so damaged that he couldn't maintain his image in the Chaos Divine Palace. The Jinwu religion. Lingyue is really bold. She's actually in cahoots with the Jinwu religion? Xing Hui's eyes were overflowing with coldness. The blazing flame mountain was the territory of the Jinwu religion. Furthermore, this place was less than 1,000 kilometers away from the Jinwu religion's headquarters. 1,000 kilometers was more than enough for an immortal stage 6, or a cultivator with a 6th grade flying sword to cover it in an hour. Once he really appeared and clashed with Lingyue, the people of the Jinwu religion would know that he, a non-member of the Jinwu religion, had actually cultivated the Great Sun Golden Crow technique to the 3rd level. Then, he would just have to wait for the Jinwu religion to come after him endlessly. Even if he hid overseas, the Jinwu religion would definitely not let him go in order to ensure that the Great Sun Golden Crow technique was not leaked. That was a good plan. Unfortunately, the technique that I'm cultivating is not as simple as the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. Yun Tao, control the saintly winged dragonhawk and head to the 9th peak as quickly as possible. The target has appeared. Yes. Yun Tao was invigorated. He channeled all of his true qi into the saintly winged dragonhawk's energy ball. In an instant, the gigantic beast spread its wings and soared into the sky, heading towards the 9th peak of the blazing flame mountain. Xing Hui was already in the blazing flame mountain, and the saintly winged dragonhawk was extremely fast. In less than half an hour, the 9th peak was already in sight. There's someone. It's an expert from the Jinwu religion. Madame Zhuyu immediately noticed 3 cultivators, riding on birds the moment she stepped into the 9th peak. They wore long golden robes with the image of the Great Sun Golden Crow embroidered on them. Charge. Go to the Karst cave where the ley lines are. This, Island Lord, there's usually only one entrance to the ley line cave. Once the Jin Wu religion people surround the entrance, we won't be able to escape even if we have wings. Yin Tao hesitated. Then, won't it be fine if we don't give them a chance to trap us? Charge in. Seeing that Xing Hui had made up his mind, Yin Tao no longer hesitated. He immediately controlled the saintly winged dragonhawk, ignoring the cries of the 3 Jin Wu religion experts, and charged towards the entrance of the karst cave like a beam of golden light. Chapter 167. Haha. Miss Lingyu, you're truly ruthless. These people are the core members of Dawn, but you've lured them all into a trap. In this aspect we, Hunyuan and Hunyuan, are far inferior to you. In the underground cave of the 9th peak, a middle-aged man in a fiery red robe was laughing loudly. His expression was relaxed and joyful. This middle-aged man was Hunyuan, an elder of the Jin Wu religion. However, his cultivation had reached the 5th level of the immortality realm, the Qingming realm. Behind him was his younger brother, who was about the same age as him. However, he was also at the peak of the 4th level of the immortality realm. Other than the two of them, there were 13 other spirit-refining cultivators. However, these 13 were obviously secretly recruited by Hunyuan and Hunyuan, just in case. Hearing Hunyuan's words, Lingyu, who was slowly wiping the thin sword dripping with blood, raised her head slightly and smiled. Elder Hunyuan, you're too kind. We're not like you who come from the sacred grounds. In order to survive, we have no choice but to use all methods. Otherwise, how could we have achieved what we have today? After speaking, she glanced at the 13 unconscious people in the cave, as well as the 9 people who had been killed. Her face carried a trace of regret. It's a pity that the return to silence powder we prepared was seen through by one of them. As a result, they were alerted and resisted with all their might. We had no choice but to use violence to suppress and capture them alive. In the end, 9 of them died for nothing. Among these 9 people, Bai Hai and Zilang were both rank 4 Sons of Chaos. Even if they inherited their Sons of Chaos, they would still be rank 2. If we were to sell them, even at our local price, it wouldn't be a problem to sell a few rank 5 divine weapons. Rank 4 Sons of Chaos. Hunyuan and Hunyuan's eyes flashed with a trace of pain, especially Hunyuan, who himself was only rank 4. It was a pity that he couldn't find a way to buy a rank 10 or higher Son of Chaos. But then again, a rank 10 Son of Chaos was extremely precious. Even if they could find a way to buy one, they might not be able to afford it. Among the 13 people, the one with the highest rank should be Xingyao, right? His Son of Chaos has reached rank 8? I just don't know how many Dao treasures he has prepared this time. It doesn't matter. When the time comes, we will interrogate them one by one. Lingyu smiled. According to our agreement, their primal chaos spells will belong to me, and their Daoist items will belong to you. Although I don't know the details, based on their conversation, I can tell that your Daoist rhymes won't be less than 50. As she spoke, she glanced at the few dead Sons of Chaos. Of course, due to unnecessary losses, this number will probably be slightly discounted, but I believe it's still at least 40. 40 Daoist rhymes, hehe. Even if it's based on the prices in the Eastern Wilderness, it's enough for me to cultivate to the peak of the green netherworld realm. Hunyuan's eyes flashed with greed. Lingyu looked at the 22 Sons of Chaos of Dawn, who had been completely subdued, then looked at Hunyuan and Hunyuan. She couldn't tell if she was disappointed or glad. She had pulled Hunyuan and Hunyuan along, because she was prepared to trick Xing Hui. A rank 10 Son of Chaos was bound to make Hunyuan and Hunyuan go crazy. In addition, the other party had the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. Xing Hui would definitely die, and she would have gotten rid of one of her greatest worries. Unfortunately, Xing Hui clearly didn't fall for it. Just as she was feeling regretful, Hunyuan seemed to have received a message, and his expression changed slightly. Someone has barged in. They ignored Qi Tong and the others' warnings. Who dares to behave so atrociously in our Jin Wu religion's territory? Hunyuan's eyes flashed with killing intent. He couldn't allow anything to happen to 40 Daoist rhymes. He's really here? A trace of joy appeared in Lingyu's eyes, and then she hurriedly said solemnly, "Everyone, This kid might be the reinforcements one of the Sons of Chaos invited. Since he knows we're here, he probably isn't an ordinary person. Didn't I tell you to invite Grand Elder Xianzhu to the Crimson Afterglow Peak? Please immediately ask for help from the Crimson Afterglow Peak. The Crimson Afterglow Peak is only 200 kilometers away. With Grand Elder Xianzhu's speed, he'll be able to arrive in an instant's time. Hunyuan and Hongyin weren't fools. When Lingyu spoke, they immediately realized something. Lingyu, are you hiding something from us? Lingyu didn't shrink back. My plan was accidentally exposed. This person didn't appear before and only appeared now. Most likely, he has the intention of being the Oriole behind. Although his cultivation isn't high, only at the peak spirit refining realm, his battle prowess isn't inferior to those in the spirit and chi unity realm. Moreover, he's a rank 10 Son of Chaos who has divine techniques. Spirit and Chi Unity Realm, a rank 10 Son of Chaos who has divine techniques. Hearing Lingyu's words, Hong Yang's eyes lit up instead of being afraid. Yes, rank 10. And rank 10 is just my guess. The other party's chaos level might be higher than rank 10. Good. Divine techniques. Although divine techniques can raise his strength by a rank, he's still a spirit refining realm cultivator. The difference between realms isn't something that can be made up for by the density of his chi. Since this brat came, we'll make him stay. Big brother, let me inherit this Son of Chaos. I'm willing to give up on the 40 Taoist rhythms obtained from this operation. There was a trace of hesitation on Hong Yang's face, but he still agreed after a moment. All right, as you say. The two of you, don't be careless. This person's cultivation is unfathomable. Especially his chi, if I'm not wrong. He's most likely using your Jin Wu religion's Great Sun Golden Crow art to cultivate his Golden Crow chi. Golden Crow chi? And his chi is at the peak. Big brother, this person who dares to steal our Jin Wu religion's secret technique must not be allowed to live. Yes, absolutely not. Rumble. As the two of them were glaring fiercely, a rumbling sound came from outside the cave. Then, a sacred winged draconic eagle with a wingspan of nearly 10 meters charged into the depths of the cave. There's someone else. Seeing Hong Yang and Hong Yin in the cave, Xing Hui's expression changed slightly. Especially Hong Yang, he could feel the aura of the green netherworld realm from him. Even if he had divine techniques, he might not be able to take down a green netherworld realm cultivator. From the looks of it, he had no choice but to use his Golden Crow chi. Yuntao, Madame Zhuyu, the two of you stay behind and block the exit. Don't let anyone escape. Yes. After receiving the order, Madame Zhuyu and Yuntao quickly retreated and blocked the exit. Haha, you want to block the exit and catch us all in one fell swoop? Foolish beyond compare. I'm afraid you don't have the strength to do so. Kid, I heard that you've cultivated our Jin Wu religion's Great Sun Golden Crow art. And that you're also a rank 10 Son of Chaos? Immediately use your divine technique, and let me clean you up on behalf of our Jin Wu religion. Otherwise, you won't accept your defeat. Hong Yin was the first to jump out. He struck out eagerly. As he swung out a chain-like weapon, it immediately erupted with a large amount of fiery light. Like a huge flaming snake, it swept up a terrifying wave of heat, and lunged towards Qing Su. However, Qing Su understood that there was no need to fear Hong Yan, who had fused with the qi. The one who could truly pose a threat was Hong Yang. If he wanted to expose his Golden Crow qi and kill the two of them, he first had to kill Hong Yang. Only with Hong Yang dead would he be confident that he could kill everyone in the cave and prevent the news from leaking out. Thus, Xing Hui's speed suddenly soared as he used a spell from the Black Hole Sutra. In a flash, he crossed over Hong Yan's fire serpent. At the same time, he activated his divine technique, and a powerful and suffocating pressure swept out from his body. Hong Yang, who wanted to use Hong Yin to test out Xing Hui's strength, grimaced. Not good. With a shake of Hong Yang's right hand, he summoned a chain weapon similar to Hong Yin. The chain swept out and turned into a terrifying fire dragon in a single moment, lunging towards Qing Su with scorching waves of heat. For a moment, the shocking waves of heat filled the cavern, incinerating all the air in the cavern. Die! Qing Su roared out. His aura erupted, and a vast figure of the golden crow suddenly appeared behind him. It radiated with the boundless pressure of the King of Flames as it rolled down. The Great Sun Golden Crow Art. It really is our Jin Wu religion's Great Sun Golden Crow Art. Brat, you dare to steal our Jin Wu religion's divine scripture. No one can save you. Purgatory Dragon Dance. With a roar, Hunyuan's blazing true qi erupted to the limit. Even though he had only cultivated spirit-grade true qi, he was still able to rely on his advantage of being 2 realms higher than Xing Hui to make that fire dragon roar and explode with a terrifying attack that was not much inferior to Xing Hui's. But Xing Hui ignored this attack that was enough to turn an ordinary blue netherworld realm expert to dust. The golden crow sword's tip pointed straight ahead, radiating killing intent. It was as if he was risking his life for Xing Hui's. You're courting death. A layer of flame armor suddenly appeared on Hunyuan's body. As Xing Hui's sword fell on him, his purgatory dragon dance completely engulfed Xing Hui. For a moment, a violent explosion rang out in the cave, shaking the earth and mountains. Terrifying waves of heat rolled in all directions, forming a shockwave visible to the naked eye. Ling Yu, Hunyuan, and the others felt their scalps tingle, and they couldn't help but retreat. Damn it, this brat took a direct hit from my big brother's purgatory dragon dance. He's dead for sure. My primal chaos technique. Hunyuan's eyes were filled with pain. Ling Yu, on the other hand, was in disbelief. She didn't believe that Xing Hui would be so easily killed by Hunyuan. As a matter of fact, she had never even thought that Hunyuan would be able to kill Qing Su when she understood Qing Su's true strength. The reason why she had dragged Hunyuan along was because she hoped that he would be able to delay Qing Su's saint technique a little longer when he used it. But in the next moment, the pain in Hunyuan's eyes and the disbelief on Ling Yu's face disappeared. In the raging torrent of flames, 3 resonant cries rang out at the same time. Then, in the middle of the battlefield filled with endless light and heat, Hunyuan's terrified and incredulous cry suddenly rang out. Scarlet Crow Soul? No. Rumble. The violent explosion and destructive waves of heat completely swallowed Hunyuan's following cry. Chapter 168. Damn it, how could this be? Ling Yu was originally waiting for Hunyuan, a blue netherworld expert, to forcefully resist the Qing Su sacred technique, so that he could exhaust as much of the Qing Su sacred technique as possible. But when she sensed Hunyuan's aura rapidly decline with a shriek, her face immediately changed. Rumble. Within the violent eruption of flames, Qing Su shot out from the dazzling light with his sword. The golden crow spread its wings and charged towards Hunyuan with surging streams. Before the sword had even arrived, the pressure on him that was comparable to the strike of an expert at the 6th level of longevity realm had already surged over, directly causing the aura qi on the surface of his body to tremble violently, showing signs of collapsing. Flaming serpent roar. Hunyuan no longer had the time to be immersed in the sorrow of Hunyuan's death. He roared out and pushed his strength to the limit. The chains danced wildly like fire pythons, sweeping towards Qing Su with scorching waves of heat. He tried to block the sharpness of his attack, while he retreated as quickly as he could. Ding ling ling. However, right at this moment Madame Zhuyu, who was guarding the entrance, seized the opportunity. She immediately activated the soul-absorbing bell, and a terrifying ringing sound entered Hunyuan's mind, causing his flaming python to pause for a moment. In that instant of pause, Qing Su's sword swept past Hunyuan's body with a terrifying torrent of flames. The collision of flames and aura qi caused a violent explosion. A shockwave visible to the naked eye spread out, causing the entire cave to shake. Some of the Golden Crow sect's spirit-refining cultivators, who were closer to the shockwave, were swept away and died on the spot. However, Madame Zhuyu's attack gave Ling Yu a chance. After witnessing Qing Su slay Hunyuan in such a devastating fashion, without even giving him the chance to spread the news, Ling Yu's heart had already turned cold. While Qing Su still needed to kill Hunyuan, the power within her suddenly erupted, shooting towards the entrance of the cavern like a streak of light. She no longer cared about trying to obtain the level of chaos of the 13 children of chaos, and the items on them anymore. Don't even think about escaping. Seeing Ling Yu rushing toward the entrance of the cave, Yin Tao roared and swung his sword. Scram! A mere cultivator at the early stage of the unity of spirit and Qi realm actually dared to block her path. A cold light flashed across Ling Yu's pretty face as she let out a fierce shout. 3 extremely fierce gang Qis carried along a sharp whistling sound that tore through the void as they slashed towards Yin Tao. It seemed as if they were going to kill him in one move. However, if Yin Tao had faced Ling Yu's furious attack earlier, he would have been heavily injured, even if he managed to survive. However, Qing Su had benefited greatly from the Xuanwu's dwelling recently, so he had specially given Yin Tao a Class 6 divine artifact. As he unleashed the power within the divine artifact, strands of resplendent light immediately shot out, turning into countless streaks of light. They clashed with the 3 strands of energy that Ling Yu had unleashed like a storm, actually shattering Ling Yu's energy in a single instance. Rank 6 divine weapon? Ling Yu's eyes widened. Unity of Spirit Realm early stage? A cultivator at the initial stage of Unity of Spirit, and Qi Realm actually had a 6th level divine weapon? Furthermore, or was it an overseas spirit and Qi uniting realm cultivator? Since when did the overseas spirit and Qi uniting realm cultivators become so wealthy? Ring ring ring. As Ling Yu's figure was slightly obstructed by Yin Tao's divine weapon, Madame Dogwood abruptly reacted and activated the soul-sucking bell. Waves of frightening power surged towards Ling Yu, causing her mind to sway. Spiritual attack. Ling Yu, who was in a daze, bit her tongue, and the intense pain instantly woke her up. Not good. Seeing that Xing Hui had killed Hong Yan, Ling Yu understood that the situation was on the line between life and death. She immediately let out a low roar, and no longer cared about hiding her trump cards. She activated the divine art, and the aura of her body surged. The image of a bird with wings spread behind her, and a terrifying aura swept out. Pung! Wherever the sword light went, the tens of thousands of sword shadows that Yin Tao had created with his rank 6 divine weapon were quickly shattered. Ling Yu was like a divine weapon that had pierced into the ground, easily tearing through the rain of swords that Yin Tao had created with his rank 6 divine weapon. Just the aftershock of the sword aura alone had sent Yin Tao flying. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body was pierced by 4 sword auras. If it wasn't for the fact that he had awakened a special bloodline and had strong recovery abilities, this attack alone would have been enough to kill him. My lady! Seeing that Ling Yu was about to break out of the encirclement and escape, Madame Zhu Yu hurriedly shouted. The soul-sucking bell vibrated even more urgently, and waves of sound waves that attacked Ling Yu's mind continuously swept toward her. Whoosh! At the critical moment, a sword light burst forth. Ling Yu, who was about to escape, felt a terrifying aura penetrating her body. In the next moment, her entire body was pierced by a sword light, and the powerful inertia sent her crashing into the wall. A flying sword. A rank 6 flying sword. Ling Yu glanced at the sword light that had pierced through her body from the corner of her eye, and despair appeared in her eyes. A rank 6 flying sword. It was actually a rank 6 upper grade flying sword. Treasured wheel boundary. In the next moment, a dazzling golden light spread out like an inverted bowl, completely enveloping Ling Yu's body. Being trapped by the treasured wheel boundary, the despair in Ling Yu's eyes deepened. However, some people might completely lose their fighting spirit in a desperate situation and surrender without a fight. However, some people would be completely stimulated and fight to the death without fear of death. Ling Yu, although she was a woman, she clearly belonged to the latter category. Seeing that Xing Hui had stepped into the treasured wheel boundary and was about to kill her, Ling Yu let out a low roar, and the killing intent on her body reached its peak. In an instant she pounced toward Xing Hui. Wherever the sword light went, the void would be torn apart. The terrifying aura that came from a rank 4 divine weapon was enough to make one's hair stand on end. Unfortunately, Crimson Crow Soul. Xing Hui let out a low roar and stabbed his sword toward Ling Yu. In his body, a Crimson Crow was activated. It let out a loud cry and flew out of the Golden Crow sword along with his vital energy. In an instant, it collided with Ling Yu's desperate attack. In an instant, a terrifying explosive force spread out, and the entire treasured wheel boundary was filled with a blazing torrent of destruction. The treasured wheel boundary shook violently and almost collapsed. Wherever the heat passed, the solid ground was burned into glass, and the area within a radius of dozens of meters became a land of death. However, that terrifying heat wave was a land of death for ordinary life forms. But to Tsing Hui, who had the yang-devouring bead, it was not worth mentioning at all. At the moment the Crimson Crow soul exploded, he completely disregarded the blazing energy within the Crimson Crow soul that could incinerate space, and he fused with his sword and charged into the blazing and surging torrent. Before Ling Yu could even catch her breath due to the obstruction of the Crimson Crow soul, an extremely dazzling and resplendent sword light once again erupted from the Golden Crow sword. Starfire flowing light. Rumble. Like a meteor crashing into the ground, an even more violent and blazing energy exploded before the Crimson Crow soul's power dissipated. The treasured wheel boundary, which was already on the verge of collapse, could no longer withstand the impact of this destructive force. It exploded with a bang, scattering into countless streaks of golden light. Within the streaks of golden light, a resplendent sun exploded, emitting boundless light and heat that illuminated the entire cave. At this moment, if someone were to open their eyes and look directly at the blazing sun, they would definitely be instantly blinded and lose their sight. Even Madame Zhu Yu and Yun Tao, who were at the Unity of Spirit realm, couldn't help but cover their eyes and quickly retreat. Finally, after an unknown amount of time, the surging heat wave and the blinding light gradually dissipated. Madame Zhu Yu and Yun Tao finally opened their eyes. As they opened their eyes, they happened to see Tsing Hui repeatedly patting Ling Yu's body. Soon, all the zhenqi in her body was dispersed and sealed. Then, he used a secret technique to point at Ling Yu's glabella, piercing her spirit sea, making it impossible for her to condense primal chaos spells and enter the primal chaos temple. The pain of having her spirit sea pierced caused Ling Yu to immediately wake up from her coma. She could not help but let out a painful scream, her whole body drenched in cold sweat. "You! Leave no one alive!" Tsing Hui did not pay attention to her. He glanced at the few spirit-refining realm cultivators that Hunyuan had brought, and directly ordered Madame Zhu Yu and Yun Tao. Upon receiving the order, the two immediately rushed into the spirit-refining realm cultivators that were lucky enough to survive and started a massacre. Miserable screams quickly resounded in the cave. Blazing Flame Mountain is the land of the Jinwu religion. It's too close to the headquarters of the Jinwu religion. With such a big commotion here, people will soon come to investigate. It's not good to stay here for long. Check the spoils of war, and take those unconscious sons of primal chaos. Let's go. As Tsing Hui spoke, he carried Ling Yu and directly landed on the sacred winged draconic eagle. Yun Tao and Madame Dogwood also stepped forward and quickly searched the bodies of the dozen or so scions of chaos of dawn. After checking the spoils of war, they carried the 13 unconscious scions of chaos, who were still alive, onto the Saint-Winged Dragon Hawk. Soon, this massive object rose into the air and quickly flew out of the cave. Outside the cave, there were still 2 Jinwu religion cultivators riding on flying beasts. Obviously, they were 2 of the 3 spirit-refining realm cultivators that were patrolling earlier. As for the whereabouts of the other one, it was unknown. Before they had time to react, Tsing Hui's flying sword had already shot out and pierced through their heads from thousands of meters away, killing them on the spot. After that, Tsing Hui let Yun Tao control the sacred winged draconic eagle to hover outside the cave. He jumped in front of the cave and took a deep breath. The power in his body rose again, and his crimson yang zhenqi circulated crazily. Then, with the Golden Crow sword as a guide, hundreds and thousands of sword rays burst out and bombarded the walls of the cave. Rumble! Accompanied by a series of earthquakes, the walls of the cave continuously cracked and fell under the bombardment of Tsing Hui's sword qi. Finally, it caused a chain of collapses and completely buried the entire cave, destroying the corpses and destroying the evidence. The 2 elders were already high-ranking members of the Jinwu religion. The death of 2 elders would definitely incur the wrath of the Jinwu religion. Once the Jin Wu religion investigated carefully, even if Xing Hui collapsed the cave, they would still be able to find some clues. However, doing so would at least increase the difficulty of investigating the Jin Wu religion. And after a few months, by the time they investigated the truth of the matter, he would have already gone overseas. At that time, if the people of the Jin Wu religion wanted to hunt him down, it would be unknown who would emerge victorious. Chapter 169. Swoosh! The holy winged dragon eagle soared into the clouds and flew at full speed. It followed the escape route that Xing Hui and the rest had planned, and headed towards Wanxiang City at full speed. The sea of clouds was already tens of kilometers above the ground, and was in an area where the wind was biting cold. Even a green netherworld realm expert would have to use a lot of vital energy to fly at such a height, let alone ordinary birds and battleships. This holy winged dragon eagle was a 5th-level superior treasure. Only the grand elders of the 10 great sage sects had such a treasure. There were probably no more than 10 of them in the entire Jin Wu religion. Furthermore, Xing Hui had asked someone to disguise the holy winged dragon eagle on Dragon Slaying Island, so that it looked similar to a 4th-level holy winged golden rock. Even if the people from the Jin Wu religion wanted to kill it, they would probably treat it as a holy winged golden rock. As for the holy winged golden rock, although its flying speed was not slow, there was a limit to how high it could fly. As such, even if the people from the Jin Wu religion really wanted to kill it, they would probably fly under the holy winged dragon eagle time and time again without realizing it. Do you have enough spirit stones? Xing Hui asked Yun Tao, who was controlling the holy winged dragon eagle. Yes. However, we have to increase the power output to the maximum in order to withstand the wind. The consumption of spirit stones will be 3 times higher than before. Yun Tao said in a low voice. 3 times the consumption would be 300 spirit stones per hour. This was the price of a 2nd-level god weapon. So be it. This is the only way to ensure that the people from the Jin Wu religion don't follow us. As Qing Su said that, he ignored the unconscious scions of chaos and directly arrived before Ling Yu, who had already woken up from the pain earlier. Leader of Dawn, Your Excellency Ling Yu, you've already seen the situation before you very clearly. Unfortunately, I've captured you alive. You've captured quite a few scions of chaos in your life, so you should know what will happen if a scion of chaos ends up in the hands of another. Ling Yu's expression was miserable, and her eyes were filled with unwillingness. I didn't think that I would still fall into your hands in the end. All of this is my own fault. If I hadn't been possessed and listened to Dragon Shadow's temptation, I wouldn't have ended up like this today. Xing Hui shook his head. There's one thing you might be mistaken about. Even without the matter of Dragon Shadow, there would still be a battle between us. This was destined from the moment you stole that batch of supreme grade fire spirit stones from Blazing Glory. Blazing Glory? Ling Yu's expression changed slightly. Blazing Glory is working for you? Not bad. Ling Yu's face turned even paler when she heard this. Even though I captured Blazing Glory alive, the torture and interrogation that followed had nothing to do with me. I know that a son of primal chaos would definitely die if he fell into the hands of another son of primal chaos. But, since you were able to tolerate Blazing Glory, it's clear that you're someone who cherishes talents. Please give me a chance. I'm willing to submit to you and serve you just like Blazing Glory. I only ask that you spare my life. Xing Hui was slightly taken aback when he heard Ling Yu's words. He did not expect Ling Yu to be so decisive and choose to compromise without any hesitation. However, it made sense when he thought about it. Ling Yu and Dragon Shadow were both sons of primal chaos who walked in the gray area. They knew very well what would happen if they fell into the hands of another son of primal chaos. Therefore, compared to other sons of primal chaos, it was easier for them to recognize their situation and make the choice that was most beneficial to them, even if this choice might lead to death. For a time, Xing Hui could not help but look at Ling Yu. I only want to live. Please give me a chance, Lord Xing Hui. I'm willing to sign the Primal Chaos Oath. From now on, I'll follow your orders without question, my lord. Ling Yu pleaded. The Primal Chaos Oath. You have 50 Taoist rhymes on you? Ling Yu had a bitter expression on her face as she said, "In our profession, we always leave a way out for ourselves. I always maintain my Taoist rhyme above 50, so that I can use the Chaos Oath to fight for a chance of survival, if I'm captured one day." Xing Hui looked at Ling Yu and shook his head in the end. "Your Chaos level is at rank 10. I don't believe that you can still go against the Chaos Oath if you lose 5 Chaos levels." Ling Yu opened her mouth but did not know how to reply. In the end, she could only beg, "My lord, if I go against the Chaos Oath, I'll lose 5 Chaos levels immediately. By then, I won't have the divine spell, and I'll only die in front of you. As long as I want to live, I won't dare to betray you. Please believe me." Xing Hui frowned. Ling Yu was a powerhouse at the pinnacle of spirit and qi as one. She only needed an opportunity to break through to the Blue Netherworld realm. Once she reached the Blue Netherworld realm and used the divine spell, her combat strength would be on par with an Immortality Level 6 powerhouse. Although an Immortality Level 6 powerhouse had more true qi than an Immortality Level 5 powerhouse, they had the additional ability of Battle Body Manifestation, which could increase their combat strength to the same level as a saint. However, if he could really subdue Ling Yu, it would be more than enough to deal with an Immortality Level 6 powerhouse. "Hand over your Chaos Incantation, Spiritual Brand and Flying Sword. I need your absolute loyalty," Xing Hui said in a deep voice. Ling Yu's life was in the hands of others. At this moment, she seemed to be decisive. She handed over her Chaos Incantation, Flying Sword and Flying Sword. "Watch her," Xing Hui said to Madame Zhuyu. He pinched Ling Yu's Chaos Incantation. As the spiritual world fell into chaos, a brand new space gradually appeared. Xing Hui did not appear in Ling Yu's personal space, or his own personal space. Instead, he appeared in the Chaos Temple. Interface. As soon as Xing Hui spoke, Ling Yu's Son of Chaos interface appeared in front of him. Name: Ling Yu, a Chaos level. Level 10 required Taoist rhyme. 85100 cultivation level. Unity of spirit and qi below that was a series of strengthening directions for basic attributes and chaos characteristics. Xing Hui glanced at it briefly. Ling Yu's spiritual level had increased by 1 level compared to the last time, reaching level 52. She was not much inferior to Xing Hui. It was no wonder that she could wake up quickly every time she was attacked by the soul-sucking bell. The Chaos Incantation is detected to be incompatible with your spiritual frequency. Please choose to withdraw or inherit the activation. At this moment, the Chaos Temple's voice kept ringing in his mind. Xing Hui naturally did not dare to inherit Ling Yu's Chaos level. Otherwise, his level 19 Chaos level would be suppressed to level 5 by Ling Yu's Chaos level. It would be too late for regrets then. He immediately withdrew from the Chaos Temple. "Leave behind a spiritual brand, and I'll give you a chance to sign the Chaos Oath," Xing Hui said. There was no doubt that he approved of Ling Yu's choice. Ling Yu immediately let out a long sigh. She knew that she would be able to survive. Even though Xing Hui had requested for her to leave an additional spiritual brand, Ling Yu did not dare to disobey, and could only obediently do as she was told. After Ling Yu had slightly recovered, the two of them met in the Chaos Temple, and Ling Yu used 50 Taoist rhymes to sign the Chaos Oath. The oath was not harsh. It only required Ling Yu to be absolutely loyal to him, not to disobey his orders, not to lie, and so on. Similarly, Xing Hui would also ensure that she had a certain amount of dignity. Ling Yu heaved a sigh of relief when she saw the oath. Although your personal space was previously used as a gathering place for Dawn, some of your treasures should also be stored in your personal space. Release those treasures and let me take a look. Yes. Although Ling Yu could now enter the Chaos Temple, her injuries had not healed. She was under the control of Xing Hui, and naturally did not dare to disobey his orders. As Xing Hui stepped into Ling Yu's personal space that was only 9 square meters, he frowned after looking through it. "Is this all you have? You're always in the gray area, so you should have quite a lot of treasures. Why don't you have any decent treasures in your personal space? Could it be that you're keeping them somewhere else?" "My lord, although we're in the gray area, we have to spend a lot of money to ensure our own safety. Moreover, I'm at a critical moment in breaking through to the green netherworld realm. Half a year ago, I purchased a large number of treasures to temper my body and spirit, to increase my chances of breaking through to the green netherworld realm. I've already used up most of my treasures. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken the risk this time. What about the Taoist items? Any cultivator should have a Taoist item as a backup just in case. Yes, I've collected a total of 12 Taoist rhymes. However, I didn't bring them with me. Instead, I hid them on an unnamed island overseas. Good. Xing Hui glanced at Ling Yu. Before I get those Taoist items, don't try to recover your true energy. Ling Yu knew that Xing Hui still didn't trust her. However, she didn't dare to disobey Xing Hui's orders, since she hadn't recovered her strength yet. She could only reply, yes. My lord, according to my observations, those people are about to wake up. At this moment, Madame Dogwood stepped forward and whispered. Her natal treasure was the soul-sucking bell. Coupled with her awakened spirit beast bloodline, she was very sensitive to spiritual fluctuations. Oh. Xing Hui nodded and turned to Ling Yu. How many Taoist rhymes do these people have? Ling Yu didn't dare to hide anything. She quickly reported the number of Taoist rhymes they had. There was a total of 42 Taoist rhymes. After that she added, of course this is the number of Taoist rhymes they reported themselves. Only they know how many Taoist items they have. Xing Hui nodded. Alright, you can leave now. Don't let them see you and cause unnecessary trouble. After that, he turned to Madame Dogwood. Have we left the Jin Wu religion's territory yet? We've already entered Wanxiang City's territory. We're about 400 kilometers away from Wanxiang City. Good. Let the saintly winged draconic eagle down. I'll have a good chat with these people. Yes. Madame Dogwood quickly controlled the saintly winged draconic eagle with Yin Tao and stopped in a forest. After stopping the saintly winged draconic eagle, Yin Tao and Madame Dogwood stepped forward and placed the 13 surviving sons of chaos on the ground. After that, Xing Hui put the saintly winged draconic eagle into his personal space and quietly waited for them to wake up. Chapter 170. Whoosh. As time passed, the 13 of them woke up one by one. As soon as they woke up, all of them went on alert. However, they soon realized that the true qi in their bodies had been completely sealed. Even the occasional awakening realm cultivator, who had yet to cultivate true qi, had their qi and blood sealed. For a moment, their expressions were extremely ugly. Very good. It looks like you've all woken up. Xing Hui's voice rang out, instantly drawing the 13's attention. The leader of the 13, a middle-aged man, stepped forward and bowed respectfully to Xing Hui. Greetings, my lord. Thank you for lending us a helping hand and preventing us from suffering a disaster. We can't thank you enough. It looks like you've recalled what happened just now, Xing Hui said. The middle-aged man nodded. At the same time, he gritted his teeth and said, I didn't expect leader Ling Yu, whom I rather respected, to be such a person. She actually colluded with those hunters and tried in vain to capture all of us sons of chaos in one fell swoop. The other sons of chaos nodded with lingering fear. The fear in their eyes had yet to completely dissipate. This isn't the first time for her. Do you remember the change in the dragon shadow a few years ago? In reality, she was the one behind it. Everyone nodded slightly, their expressions grave. It's all thanks to my lord's help this time. Otherwise, I'm afraid we would have been completely wiped out like a few years ago. Thank you, my lord. With the middle-aged man in the lead, everyone present stood up and bowed respectfully to Xing Hui. You don't have to thank me too early. I didn't save you for nothing. I won't ask for anything else, but the Tao-carrying artifacts on you will be my reward for saving you, Xing Hui said indifferently. As soon as he said this, the 13's expressions changed at the same time. You want the Tao-carrying artifacts on us? These Tao-carrying artifacts are precious treasures that we went to great lengths to obtain. How can we give them to you? You can't do this. We can't thank you enough for saving our lives. But if you take advantage of the situation and demand repayment, you've gone too far. The 13 sons of chaos were filled with righteous indignation, their faces faintly burning with rage. Grateful? So all I got in return for saving your lives was a word of gratitude. But when I asked you to pay the price, all of you turned against me? Is this how you treat your savior? Sing Hui looked at the 13 people in front of him with an indifferent expression. Some of them still had a trace of anger on their faces, but most of them instantly sobered up. They were still under Sing Hui's control. If their actions angered Sing Hui, the consequences would be, it was unimaginable. Immediately, a few of them stepped forward and said, "My lord, we're unable to repay you for saving us. Since you've taken a fancy to our treasures, then we'll naturally offer them to you as thanks for saving our lives." Sing Hui glanced at the treasures that they offered and accepted them expressionlessly. "You can leave now. Thank you, my lord." The few people who handed over the Dao-carrying items thanked him gratefully and quickly left. Seeing their actions, the remaining Sons of Chaos also understood the situation in front of them. They stepped forward and handed over their treasures. "Your nickname is Lonely Stone. Didn't you prepare 6 Dao-carrying auras for the transaction? But now you're only willing to offer 2 Dao-carrying auras. It seems that you clearly think that these treasures are more important than you being in the hands of those hunters. In that case, I respect your choice, Dogwood." "My lord." Madame Dogwood hurriedly stepped forward and bowed respectfully. "The Dark Knight treats the Sons of Chaos that fall into your hands the same way you treat him." "Yes." Madame Dogwood responded respectfully. "The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight's Madame Dogwood. Oh my god, it's the Dark Knight. It's one of the most terrifying hunter organizations in the Eastern Wilderness Circle of Sons of Chaos." When the Sons of Chaos who originally had other thoughts heard Sing Hui call out Madame Dogwood's name, all the blood drained from their faces. Lonely Stone couldn't help but tremble. Uncontrollable fear surged into his eyes as he cried out in fear. "My lord, I just couldn't react to the upheaval in front of me for a moment, and forgot that I actually have 6 Dao-carrying auras. Please give me a chance, my lord. I'm willing to offer up all of my Dao-carrying auras." When the Sons of Chaos who originally had other thoughts learned that the person in front of them was very likely related to the infamous Dark Knight, all of them were terrified to the extreme. They scrambled to be the first to offer up their Dao-carrying items. "My lord, these are the Dao-carrying items I have. Thank you for saving our lives, my lord. We are unable to repay your kindness. Please accept these Dao-carrying items, my lord. My lord, these are all the Dao-carrying items I have. If I hide anything from you, may the heavens strike me down." Seeing that the Sons of Chaos were afraid that he'd change his mind because they were too slow, a cold glint flashed through Sing Hui's eyes. This world, sure enough, only the wicked could live a better life. Under the awe of Madame Dogwood's name, none of the Sons of Chaos dared to have any other thoughts. After paying up their Dao-carrying items, they all wanted to leave this place as quickly as possible. Not long after, Sing Hui had already received 46 Dao-carrying items, which was 4 points more than what Ling Yu had received. It was clear that Sing Hui's Dao-carrying items had misled them into thinking that Sing Hui had complete control over the amount of Dao-carrying items they had. As a result, they even offered up the Dao-carrying items that they didn't intend to use to trade. "Congratulations, my lord. You've reaped a bountiful harvest." Madame Dogwood, Yin Tao, and Ling Yu, who had appeared from the shadows, hurriedly came forward to congratulate Sing Hui when they saw him put away all of the Dao-carrying items in his personal space. "It's all thanks to Madame Ling Yu." A hint of shame flashed through Ling Yu's eyes. "It's my honor to be able to help you, sir." "All right, there's no need to say such meaningless words. Ling Yu, you just need to remember that as long as you do your best to complete the mission I give you and don't betray me, I won't do anything to you." "Yes, I understand. From today onwards, I'll be loyal and devoted to you, sir. I won't dare to be disloyal in the slightest." Sing Hui didn't continue on this topic. He only said, "Although the saintly winged dragonhawk looks similar to the saintly winged golden rock after being modified, it was still discovered by the people of the Jin Wu religion. In order to avoid causing trouble, we'll head to Wanxiang City on our swords." After he finished speaking, he raised his flying sword into the air. A hint of bitterness appeared on Ling Yu's face. "Sir, my flying sword and vital energy." Ling Yu's vital energy had yet to recover, and her flying sword, divine weapon, and armor had all been taken away by Xinghui. She didn't have the ability to fly on a sword at all. Madam Dogwood, take her with you. During this time, I'll allow you to recover your vital energy. Xinghui said. As for the flying sword, divine weapon and armor, Xinghui didn't plan to return them to Lingyu. A Lingyu without divine weapon or armor, and a fully armed Lingyu naturally couldn't be compared in terms of combat power. Immediately, the four of them flew on their swords and headed towards Wanxiang City. When they reached the outskirts of Wanxiang City, they disregarded the shocked gazes of the people around them and landed on the ground. Among the three of you, who knows Wanxiang City the best? Xinghui asked as they walked towards Wanxiang City. Madam Dogwood and Yin Tao looked at each other and shook their heads. We spend most of our time overseas. Although we know a little about Wanxiang City, we don't know much about it. If Sir only needs some basic information, we can provide it. Seeing this, Lingyu hurriedly said, I know Wanxiang City quite well. After selling some divine weapons in the 100 Seas City's black market, I used the spirit stones I obtained to buy cultivation resources in Wanxiang City. Oh. When Xinghui heard this, he seemed to have thought of something and asked, I remember you saying that you used the resources you obtained to buy spirit-tempering treasures. I remember that these treasures are usually very precious. Could it be that they are sold in Wanxiang City? The governor of Wanxiang City is someone who stands at the peak of the immortal level. His cultivation level is unfathomable, and he can talk directly to the leaders of the top 10 sections. With him around, everyone can trade in Wanxiang City without worry. Therefore, there are usually things that can't be bought in ordinary places. Even the treasures that can train one's spirit can be seen occasionally. When Lingyu said this, a bitter smile appeared on her face. The only problem with trading in Wanxiang City is that the processing fee is too expensive. The 10% processing fee makes many people shrink back. Especially when you need Wanxiang City to act as a guarantor. The processing fee can reach 20% or even 30%. However, it is precisely because Wanxiang City's processing fee is too high that some normal commercial cities have the ability to survive. Xinghui nodded. Once we enter Wanxiang City, immediately find out where there are spirit-tempering and spirit-tempering treasures for sale. Price is not a problem. Yes. Lingyu, Madame Zhuyu, and Wanderer Yin Tao hurriedly agreed. Lingyu pondered for a moment and said directly, Sir, spirit-tempering treasures are often priceless. However, if you really want to buy them, the Xuanji Pavilion has the best chance. Xuanji Pavilion? Xinghui was surprised. Isn't Wanxiang Pavilion the biggest commercial force in Wanxiang City? Wanxiang Pavilion is indeed the biggest commercial force in Wanxiang City, and has the support of the city lord's residents. However, once Wanxiang Pavilion receives spirit-tempering treasures, they usually provide them to the city lord's residents and won't sell them to outsiders. On the other hand, Xuanji Pavilion often sells strange treasures. Sometimes the items they sell are enough to make Immortality Realm experts go crazy, and even... Lingyu paused for a moment. Not long after Xuanji Pavilion was established, they held an auction for spirit-carrying treasures. Spirit-carrying treasures? Xinghui was slightly taken aback. Xuanji Pavilion actually auctioned spirit-carrying treasures? Yes, even though the auction for spirit-carrying treasures was to promote Xuanji Pavilion's name. This point alone can prove Xuanji Pavilion's connections. Alright, Wanderer Yin Tao and Madame Zhuyu, the two of you will go to Wanxiang City's biggest commercial forces, Wanxiang Pavilion and Heavenly Treasures Pavilion. Lingyu, the two of us will go directly to Xuanji Pavilion. Yes. Chapter 171. Xuanji Pavilion. It was not the tallest building in Wanxiang City. Regardless of whether it was the city lord's residence or Wanxiang Tower, they were superior to the Xuanji Tower in terms of height and grandeur. However, the number of cultivators coming and going in the Xuanji Tower was significantly higher than other places. The liveliness of the Xuanji Tower was also incomparable to other chambers of commerce. Under Lingyu's lead, Qingsu directly entered the Hall of Stars. As soon as she entered, Lingyu immediately went up and handed a crystal card to the attendant who came over. Get your upper echelon to receive me. Seeing the crystal card in Ling Yu's hand, the waiter respectfully responded, I'll go and get the manager of the pavilion. Esteemed guests, please follow me to the VIP room to rest. After waiting for a while in the VIP room, a mature spirit-refining woman, who looked to be in her 30s, stepped into the VIP room. Seeing Ling Yu, she immediately greeted her warmly. So it's Miss Yu Ling. I didn't know Miss Yu Ling was coming, and didn't come out to receive you immediately. I hope Miss Yu Ling will forgive me. Qing Su glanced at Ling Yue. He could roughly guess that this so-called Yuling was her alias when she was outside. Deacon Bai Jing, this time I've brought you a true big customer. Compared to him, the goods in my hands are just small fries. If you have any treasures related to refining and restoring the spirit, you can take them all out. As long as today's business is successful, your Xuanji pavilion will definitely make a huge profit. Bai Jing looked at Xing Hui with some surprise, but her face was still full of smiles. Treasures that can refine and restore the spirit? You've come at the right time. We've just received a new batch of goods that will definitely satisfy our esteemed guests. Finishing her words, she clapped her hands. After waiting for a female attendant to enter the VIP room, she instructed, Go, bring me the latest batch of spiritual treasure pills that we got from Heavenly Medicine Union. Your Excellency Bai Jing, the spiritual treasure pill would naturally be considered a top-notch spiritual treasure pill if I were to use it. However, it is nothing to this lord. If your Jade Pearl Pavilion does not have anything that can satisfy us, we can only go to Vientiane Tower, or even Heavenly Medicine Union to try our luck. My apologies. I didn't react in time, and forgot that you are the real buyer. I'll get someone to bring out the treasures that were originally going to be auctioned in the Xuanji Pavilion. After Bai Jing finished speaking, the female attendant immediately left without needing any further instructions. Not long after, a young lady in her 20s with a youthful aura walked in. Seeing this woman, Bai Jing was slightly startled. She quickly stood up and asked, Miss, why are you here? Honored guests have arrived, and I am here. As the host, it is my duty to receive them. As the woman said that, she smiled at Qing Su. I am Xian Yu. Greetings to Miss Yu Ling, and this sir. May I know how to address you, sir? Xing Hui. Prince Xing Hui. The lady Xian Yu took an exquisitely framed jade box from the female attendant and handed it to Xing Hui. I heard that Prince Xing Hui needs top-notch medicinal herbs related to the soul. I have a batch of 3 Heaven Awakening pills here. Will this satisfy Prince Xing Hui? Heaven Awakening pills. Xing Hui was surprised to hear this. He didn't expect the Xuanji Pavilion to be able to obtain such pills. However, the Heaven Awakening pills have a good effect on cultivators below the Green Netherworld realm. However, for cultivators above the Green Netherworld realm, the effects are not that obvious. Xing Hui said. Under Xian Yu's astonished gaze, he slowly added, In fact, compared to the pills that temper the soul, I'm more interested in buying pills that can heal the soul. Of course, it would be best if the Xuanji Pavilion could obtain Primordial Spirit Qi. Primordial Spirit Qi. Hearing Xing Hui name such a valuable item, Xian Yu couldn't help but smile bitterly. Primordial Spirit Qi is extremely precious. Even though the Xuanji Pavilion has some special channels, we are unable to obtain such a treasure. However, if Prince Xing Hui is willing to lower his target, we can obtain some Dragon Soul Incense for Prince Xing Hui. Dragon Soul Incense was also a treasure that could heal the soul. However, its effects were slightly inferior to Primordial Spirit Qi. Since you are unable to obtain Primordial Spirit Qi, Dragon Soul Incense will do. How much is it? We have sorted out the Dragon Soul Incense. 1 stick of Dragon Soul Incense can burn for a day, and is sold for 100 spirit crystals, or a level 5 divine weapon. 1 stick of Dragon Soul Incense, a level 5 divine weapon. Xing Hui was speechless when he heard this price. Based on the prices in the Eastern Wilderness, a level 4 divine weapon could be exchanged for 1 point of Tao Rhyme. A level 5 divine weapon would be worth 10 Tao Rhymes. The price of Primordial Spirit Qi in the Chaos Treasure Pavilion was only 10 Tao Rhymes. This was equivalent to selling dragon soul incense for primordial spirit qi. The price was the same, but the effects of the two items were more than 10 times different. Treasures that can temper or heal the soul have always been extremely precious and expensive. Most of the time, there is no market for them. If Prince Xinghui really wants them, you have to hurry. Xianyu smiled. Xinghui couldn't help but fall silent when he heard this. A level 5 divine weapon. In reality, it was only worth 1 Tao rhyme in the Sky Dome Empire. According to the discount offered to official members of the Sky Dome Empire, it was acceptable to buy 1 stick of dragon soul incense for 1 Tao rhyme. Although it couldn't be compared to primordial spirit qi, it was much cheaper. Furthermore, other than the matter of Lingyu, he also wanted to make a trip to the 10,000 Swords Mountain. He wanted to make use of the mysterious stone pillar in the 10,000 Swords Mountain to break through to the divine energy uniting realm. In a situation where he didn't have any primordial spirit qi, the dragon soul incense was indeed the best choice. When he thought of that, even though he felt like he was being taken for a fool, Qing Su still said, "If it's a class 5 weapon, then so be it. How many do you have?" Xianyu's smile instantly became extremely warm. "We have a total of 30 sticks of dragon soul incense, enough to last you a month. Do you intend to buy all of them?" 30 sticks. It was equivalent to the price of a level 6 divine weapon. At this moment, the door to the VIP lounge was pushed open, following which, a young lady who looked about the same age as Xianyu, wearing a white dress, walked in. She had a faint mocking smile on her face. "When did the price of dragon soul incense reach the level of 100 spirit crystals, or a level 5 divine weapon? Why didn't I know about this? I remember that if you have the right channels, you can buy dragon soul incense from the Heaven Medicine Alliance for only 60 spirit crystals. Is this how the Xianji Pavilion treats their VIPs? Yi Feifei? How dare you barge into the VIP lounge of the Xianji Pavilion? Is everyone from the Vientiane Tower so lacking? Please leave immediately." When Xianyu saw the young lady who barged in, her face was instantly filled with anger. "Haha, I Yi Feifei. I'm also a VIP of the Xianji Pavilion. I just wanted to rest in the VIP lounge, and accidentally walked into the wrong place. Are you going to strip me of my VIP status?" After Yi Feifei finished speaking, she looked at Xinghui with a smile. "Prince Xinghui, our Vientiane Tower's dragon soul incense is much cheaper than the Xianji Pavilion's dragon soul incense. 60 spirit crystals is enough. Furthermore, we have 40 sticks. If you need them, you can come to our Vientiane Tower. Men, take her out." Xianyu shouted angrily. "Haha, I don't need you to say anything. I'll leave now. My apologies, I've walked out of the place and disturbed everyone." Yi Feifei looked at Xianyu triumphantly, then nodded at Xinghui with a smile, and left the VIP lounge. 30 sticks of dragon soul incense were worth a 6th grade divine weapon. This was considered a top-notch transaction for both the Vientiane Tower and the Xianji Pavilion. Usually, there would not be such a large transaction for several months or even years. But now that Yi Feifei had caused such a ruckus, the transaction was obviously going to fall through. Xianyu panicked and hurriedly turned to Xinghui and Lingyu. "Both of you, Yi Feifei is the vice head of the Vientiane Tower and has been targeting the Xianji Pavilion all these years. Her words may not be fully trusted. We'll know whether we can trust her completely after we go over and find out. If it's true, I have an old customer who has been doing business with you for several decades, but you actually sold us goods at an inflated price. From now on, we won't do any business with the Xianji Pavilion." Lingyu stood up with a trace of dissatisfaction on her face. Xinghui also stood up. He was not particularly satisfied with the dragon soul incense, and the high price had already made Xinghui somewhat hesitant. Now that there was a cheaper dragon soul incense in the Vientiane Tower, Xinghui naturally did not intend to continue staying in the Xianji Pavilion. "Wait a minute." Seeing how Qing Su was about to turn around and leave, a deal involving a Class 6 divine weapon was about to fall through, Xianyu made a prompt decision. Doesn't young Master Qing Su want to buy Qi of the Soul? 3 days ago, the excavation team of the Xianji Pavilion had just opened up an ancient cave, and coincidentally found some primordial spirit energy in that cave. If Prince Tsinghui needs it, the Xianji Pavilion is willing to sell this primordial spirit energy to you at the price of a 6th grade divine weapon. Oh! Tsinghui paused. A 6th grade divine weapon. According to the prices of the Eastern Wilderness, it was worth 30 to 40 Taoist rhymes. But according to the exchange rate of the Sky Dome divine weapon, it was a very good deal. Does the Xianji Pavilion really have primordial spirit energy? Of course. I don't dare to joke with a distinguished guest like Prince Tsinghui. After Xianyu finished speaking, she quickly added, however, if Prince Tsinghui wants to buy this primordial spirit energy, he will also have to buy the 30 Dragon Soul incense sticks. We can also give Prince Tsinghui a discounted price for these Dragon Soul incense sticks. How about 2 5th grade divine weapons? Tsinghui pondered for a while and nodded. Sure, but I need to check the goods first. Of course, the Xianji Pavilion will never deceive our customers about the quality of our goods. Otherwise, how could we establish ourselves in the Vientiane Tower and develop to the point where we can suppress the Vientiane Tower, supported by the city lord's residence? Very good. Tsinghui nodded. It was a pleasant surprise to be able to buy primordial spirit energy. With primordial spirit energy, he would have a higher chance of going to the 10,000 Swords Mountain to refine his mind. Chapter 172. Whoosh! Mount Jian. Several figures emitting terrifying auras landed at the collapsed underground cave at the same time. Among these few figures, the leader was a burly man wearing a fiery red armor. The long cape on his shoulders fluttered in the wind, and he was filled with a domineering aura. The pressure emitted from his body had reached the peak of the green underworld stage. If such a person was placed outside the sea, he would definitely be able to wipe out 99% of the forces outside the sea. It would not be an exaggeration to say that he was invincible. At this moment, several hundred people in the blazing flame mountain cave had already cleaned up the collapsed cave, revealing the tragic and spectacular battle that had erupted within the cave to everyone. Disciplined King Lai Ji, according to the traces we found, this man is at least in the syncretism of spirit and qi. Moreover, his cultivation method is very advanced. It is similar to the Golden Crow skill of our Jin Wu religion. An old man from the Jin Wu religion, who was in charge of cleaning up the cave, came forward and said hesitantly, syncretism of spirit. Golden Crow skill. Are you saying that someone who is not from our Jin Wu religion has mastered the cultivation method of the 4th stage of the Golden Crow skill? Disciplined King Lai Ji's eyes shone with a cold light. I need detailed information. This is related to the supreme law of our Jin Wu religion. I can't just rely on your inference. The old man glanced at the entrance of the karst cave and said, according to the traces of fighting inside the karst cave, we were 90% sure that even if the cultivator didn't cultivate the Great Sun Golden Crow spell, his cultivation method must be related to the Golden Crow spell. However, the traces left outside the cave made us suspect that the cultivator might have cultivated a secret method similar to the Great Sun Golden Crow spell. But the damage caused by it was similar to the Great Sun Golden Crow spell. You must investigate this matter as soon as possible. If this kid is cultivating the Jin Wu religion's Great Sun Golden Crow technique, then things won't be so simple. I need to personally report this to the sect leader and ask the Grand Elder to capture him alive and force him to reveal the details of how he obtained the Great Sun Golden Crow technique. I understand. I will gather all evidence as soon as possible to prove this conjecture. Our Jin Wu religion has been on the decline during this period of time. Under the pressure of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, the Limitless Sword sect, and the Create Evolve Mysterious Gate, our reputation is not as good as before. The Great Sun Golden Crow technique is the foundation of our Jin Wu religion. If it is leaked out, it will definitely deal a serious blow to our entire Jin Wu religion. I would rather kill the wrong person than let him go. This person is extremely vicious and has killed an elder of my Jin Wu religion. My Jin Wu religion will not let this matter rest. Regardless of whether or not he's cultivating the Great Sun Golden Crow technique, Let's capture him first. After disciplined King Li Ji finished speaking, he turned to another elder, who was in the syncretism of spirit and qi realm. Where did the murderer escape to? Do you have any clues? After the murderer killed the two elders, Hongyang and Hongyan, he took the air route to Wanxiang City. We've already sent people to Wanxiang City, and we'll have clues very soon. Wanxiang City? Disciplined King Li Ji frowned, but that was it. I'll personally make a trip to Wanxiang City and ask for the cooperation of the city lord. No one can get away with killing the higher-ups of the Jinwu religion. The transaction in Wanxiang City went very smoothly. He obtained 3 level 6 divine weapons, 1 level 6 armor, and 1 level 6 flying sword from Xuanwu's cave abode. He naturally kept the level 6 flying sword for his own use. As for the level 6 armor, it was expensive and Wanxiang City might not be able to afford it. Instead, it was more convenient to sell the 3 level 6 divine weapons. However, Xing Hui, who had obtained the primordial spirit qi, could not wait to head to the 10,000 Swords Mountain's ancestral ground to cultivate. He did not want to stay in Wanxiang City for too long, so he asked Ling Yu to stay in Wanxiang City and keep an eye out for items that could carry the Tao and refine the spirit. Meanwhile, he, Yin Tao, and Madame Zhu Yu headed to the 10,000 Swords Mountain. He needed to train his spirit to its limits in the 10,000 Swords Mountain. Even with the help of the primordial spirit qi, it was still very dangerous. He did not feel at ease letting Ling Yu, who he could not completely trust, follow him. The inland was not as vast as the overseas. Under Yin Tao's control, the sacred winged dragonhawk took only 2 days to arrive at the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's 10,000 Swords Mountain's ancestral ground. Xing Hui could not help but sigh as he recalled his first visit to the 10,000 Swords Mountain's ancestral ground. Back then, he had not even reached the immortality stage and had relied on a Tier 3 divine weapon to slaughter his way through the 10,000 Swords Mountain's ancestral ground and destroy the 10,000 Swords Mountain's faction. Now that he thought about it, he had been a little reckless. Fortunately, the 10,000 Swords Mountain was only a small faction and did not have any hidden experts. Their foundation could not be compared to the real top factions. Otherwise, if the 10,000 Swords Mountain had a few true Qi realm patriarchs who were in seclusion and did not come out, and suddenly appeared when he attacked, given his cultivation level back then, he definitely would not have been a match for them. In the end, he would not have been able to escape the fate of having his divine weapon stolen and dying. My lord, this place is... Yin Tao and Madame Zhu Yu asked curiously when they saw Xing Hui stop in an area that had clearly not been visited by anyone for a long time. Could this be my lord's sect? Xing Hui shook his head. All right, the two of you stand guard outside for me. I want to cultivate here, and do not let anyone disturb me. Yes, Yin Tao and Madame Zhu Yu acknowledged at the same time. The two of you stay a little further away. Stay at least 1,000 meters away from this mountain. Although Yin Tao and Madame Zhu Yu did not understand the meaning behind Xing Hui's words, they had taken the spirit-dispersing pill and were loyal to Xing Hui. Naturally, they would not go against his words and quickly retreated 1,000 meters away. At this time, Xing Hui had stepped into the depths of the 10,000 Swords Mountain's ancestral ground and reappeared in front of the mysterious stone pillar. Compared to before, the interior of the cave did not change much. Even the mysterious stone pillar was still standing there, and no one was interested in it. After all, other than the 10 great sects, spirit-refining cultivators were very rare in the mainland. Cultivators who had reached the spirit-refining realm and above were usually able to fly on their swords and rarely walk on the ground. This greatly reduced the chances of the cave being discovered. As for cultivators below the spirit-refining realm, once they encountered the sword intent within the mysterious stone pillar, no matter how many came, they would all die. Xing Hui took a deep breath and reached out to touch the mysterious stone pillar. After a while, he took a deep breath and said, "Last time, even the rank 3 divine weapon, the green firmament sword, could not let me see your true appearance. This time, I will uncover your true secret." After saying that, the golden crow sword appeared in his hand, accompanied by a wave of heat, Xing suddenly swung the sword. The golden crow sword turned into a dazzling sword shadow and fiercely slashed at the mysterious stone pillar. For a moment, flames burst out and stone fragments flew. The entire cave began to shake violently with his sword. Amidst the shaking, the mysterious stone pillar also trembled slightly. Following that, a sword intent that was many times stronger than before suddenly burst out. Like a tsunami, it crashed into Xing spiritual world. Even though Xing spiritual power had greatly improved compared to before, he still felt his spirit sway. After a while, the sword intense impact gradually dissipated. Only then did Xing furrowed brows relax. The sword intent emitted by the stone pillar was very strong. Even though his spiritual level had reached the astonishing 53rd level, he still couldn't calm himself down. Of course, that was all. If it was to say that it could cause him harm, this level of sword intent was already lacking in strength. Looking at the stone pillar that had a large amount of stone fragments, Xing took a deep breath. In the next moment, the earth energy within his body erupted. The golden crow sword once again burst out with a blazing golden light, and then a wave of heat swept out. Following Xing slash, the surface of the mysterious stone pillar seemed to have exploded like a bomb. In the midst of the explosion, even more stone fragments sputtered out. The mighty heat spread out in all directions, impacting the floor of the cave, turning the solid floor of the cave into glass. The remaining power swept upwards, turning the floor of the cave into porcelain and causing it to shatter. Large amounts of rocks rustled down, almost burying the entire hall. The cave is going to collapse. Xing could not help but frown as he looked at the mysterious stone pillar that he had not completely destroyed. He didn't know what this mysterious stone pillar was, but it was extremely sturdy. Even when he slashed with the golden crow sword with all his strength, he still couldn't completely cut it apart. Moreover, the powerful force of the slash was transmitted to the entire cave, causing the cave to be in imminent danger. If this continued, the cave would completely collapse. At that time, it wouldn't be a small project for him to dig out the mysterious stone pillar from the collapsed mountain. I can only do it bit by bit. Xing sighed. Immediately, he used the golden crow sword as a shovel and began to poke away the stone fragments around the mysterious stone pillar bit by bit. In this way, although the speed was slow, at least the mountain would not collapse. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. As Xing continued to clear away the material around the mysterious stone pillar, the stone pillar became thinner and thinner. When the stone pillar was only the size of a wash basin, a layer of stone fragments fell to the ground, revealing a smooth stone surface that looked like a crystal. This stone surface was sparkling and translucent. Even in the darkness of the cave, it still emitted a sparkling and translucent color. Especially, he could sense an extremely terrifying aura coming from this crystal-like solid object. Energy? Solid energy? Xing heart thumped as an idea suddenly appeared in his mind. Solid energy. When a cultivator reached the first level of the Saint Realm, their vital energy would transform from a gaseous state to a liquid state. If this liquid vital energy was used in a special way, it could even solidify into spirit crystals, which were rather similar to the solid crystal in front of him. However, compared to the solid spirit crystals formed from vital energy, this solid object in front of him was clearly much more stable. Although it contained a terrifying aura, Xing could not refine or use it at all. This is definitely solid energy left behind by an expert above the Saint Realm. Without hesitation, Xing sped up the excavation of the mysterious stone pillar. Finally, after a day, the stone fragments around the mysterious stone pillar were completely cleared away by Xing, revealing its true appearance. A crystal pillar. A crystal pillar that was about 20 centimeters in diameter and 3 meters in length. It was completely formed from that mysterious solid energy. The truly shocking thing was that at the very center of the crystal pillar, there was actually a sword. A broken sword that only had half of its tip. Chapter 173. This sword, looking at the broken sword in the solid energy crystal pillar, Xing was slightly startled. This is the source of that mysterious sword intent? Xing condensed a stream of aura qi and flicked it at the solid energy crystal pillar. A slight vibration force was transmitted to the broken sword. Immediately, the broken sword seemed to be slightly activated and emitted a terrifying sword intent that was insignificant to it, but was enough to kill any spirit refining realm cultivator, and even heavily injure a spirit qi unification realm cultivator. As expected, a gleam of light flashed through Qing Su's eyes. This broken sword is the source of the sword intent. Thinking of this, he lit up a stick of dragon soul incense and prepared his primordial spirit qi at the same time. Then, he released a stream of spirit and probed toward the broken sword. He wanted to guide the sword intent out of the broken sword and use it to refine his spirit and soul. Wang. Just as his spirit and will collided with the sword intent of the broken sword, a loud sound like a great bell rang in his spirit world. For a moment, everything was silent. His thoughts seemed to have stopped at this moment, and he completely lost all functions. He could only watch helplessly as the sword light that filled the sky exploded in his spiritual world. As if a star had been destroyed, at first, it dimmed slightly, then it burst out with endless light and heat, completely destroying his spiritual world with the power to destroy it like breaking rotten wood collapse. Under the attack of the sword intent, his spirit world collapsed to a large extent. In the next breath, his spirit would be completely destroyed by the sword intent, and his soul would scatter. Just as the sword intent that he guided out of the broken sword was about to destroy his spiritual world with an unstoppable force, the sword intent that was so powerful that it froze his consciousness and stopped his thoughts suddenly plummeted, as if it was heavily blocked by a mysterious force. Under the obstruction of this force, Xing Hui's spirit consciousness that did not have the slightest bit of resistance finally got a precious chance to breathe. Without any hesitation, he immediately guided the energy in his primordial spirit qi and poured it into his sea of consciousness, nourishing the spirit world that was on the verge of collapse. It was only at this moment that the pain of his spiritual world being torn apart abruptly engulfed him. He could not help but let out a shriek and covered his head as he was almost dizzy. After an entire hour, Xing Hui managed to struggle out of the mental breakdown by relying on his powerful recovery ability. A portion of the qi of his soul ran out very soon, so Qing Su could only rely on the dragon soul fragrance to reduce the pain in his head. Fortunately, he had prepared the primordial spirit qi and dragon soul incense beforehand. Otherwise, even if he had regained consciousness at the last moment, a mental breakdown would have been inevitable. Even if his recovery ability had reached the 5th step, it would still be difficult for him to escape the fate of having his soul scattered. Terrifying. The sword intent within this broken sword is simply terrifying. Xing Hui's eyes flashed with lingering fear. Not long ago, when he was tempering his mind with the help of Reverend Zhu Zhao's light-condensing sword in the Refining God Pavilion, he had felt the horror of a mental breakdown more than once. Under the repeated mental breakdowns, his mind level had been greatly enhanced, and his mental world had developed a strong resistance to this kind of mental attack. The fact that his mind level had reached level 53 was the best proof. However, even if he had made ample preparations beforehand and had a mental level of level 53 as a foundation, he was still crushed without any room for resistance when faced with the sword intent contained within the broken sword. What was more terrifying was, under the crushing pressure of the sword intent, he had no power to resist at all. He could not even withdraw midway. When his thoughts came to a standstill, his mental world had completely collapsed and died. He had unknowingly died. This kind of horror, it made one's hair stand on end. After a while, Xing Hui recovered from the shadow of death that had almost caused his soul to scatter. His gaze fell on the solid energy crystal surrounding the broken sword. It was because of this layer of solid energy crystal that most of the sword intent contained within the broken sword that he was able to recover from his frozen state of mind. This is definitely not a broken sword left behind by a saint powerhouse. Divine. This is a divine sword. Xing Hui looked at the broken sword and could not help but shudder. However, After hesitating for a moment, he decisively put away the broken sword that was wrapped in the solid energy crystal. Yangming could clearly feel that his spiritual world had grown sufficiently after the crushing earlier. By the time his mental power recovered to its peak, he reckoned that his mental power would naturally break through to the 54th rank. Even though the crushing pressure brought about by the broken sword caused him to be in so much pain that he wished he was dead, it was difficult for him to give up on the rapid growth of his mental power. The only regret was that every time he activated the sword intent within the broken sword, he had to prepare a portion of primordial spirit chi in advance. Otherwise, with the strength of his mental power, he would not be able to withstand the impact of the sword intent within the broken sword, even if the impact of the sword intent was weakened countless times by the solid energy crystal. A portion of primordial spirit chi can increase my mental power by 1 level. The price is not small, but it's worth it. Xinghui secretly made up his mind. He had obtained the 26 Taoist aura item from Xuanwu's cave, and obtained 48 Taoist aura from the people of Dawn. His Taoist aura had risen to 74 Taoist aura points. Moreover, Lingyu still had some Taoist aura items that she had yet to hand over. When the time came, his Taoist aura points would be close to the bountiful harvest from the last time. With over 80 Taoist aura points, even if he bought them at the price of 15 Taoist aura per portion of primordial spirit chi, he would still be able to obtain 5 portions. 5 portions meant 5 levels of spiritual power. With his mental power that was close to the peak of the green netherworld realm, he could push his divine grade gang chi to become one with his divine grade gang chi. When the time came, the entire process would be very smooth. I'll go ask the higher-ups in the Sky Dome realm when they'll open the Chaos Treasure Pavilion. Xinghui thought as he entered the Chaos Temple. When he arrived at the Chaos Temple, before Xinghui could enter the Sky Dome realm, he had already received Lingyu's invitation. Frowning, Xinghui accepted Lingyu's invitation and stepped into her personal space. Since Lingyu's identity had been exposed, Dawn had naturally disbanded. Although the layout of her personal space had not changed much, it was now extremely empty. Other than herself, there was no one else inside. Seeing Xinghui appear, Lingyu hurriedly said, "My lord, you have finally appeared. You must not return to Dragon-Slaying Island now. Otherwise, you will be in great danger." What happened? It's about Hong Yang's death. Hong Yang and Hong Yen were both elders of the Jinwu religion. They were considered to be in the upper echelons of the Jinwu religion. The Jinwu religion would definitely investigate the death of such people. Just yesterday, a Shakyamuni of the Jinwu religion led a few elders to Wanxiang City. After some investigation, they found clues about you. Based on the information, they deduced that you are the owner of Dragon-Slaying Island. Currently, Shakyamuni Laiji has personally led a few elders to Dragon-Slaying Island. Shakyamuni Laiji has brought people to Dragon-Slaying Island. Xinghui frowned. Xinghui naturally knew about Shakyamuni Laiji. When he obtained the first 3 stages of the Golden Crow skill from Lai Wuyang, he was prepared to face Shakyamuni Laiji's revenge. Therefore, he had specially investigated Shakyamuni Laiji. When Shakyamuni Laiji had awakened the Phoenix bloodline, he had been in the limelight for a while. However, when he was in the Gang Chi realm, he had only cultivated spiritual Gang Chi, and gradually became ordinary. However, this so-called ordinary was only relative to the upper echelons of the Jinwu religion. After hundreds of years of cultivation, Shakyamuni Laiji's red flame genuine Qi had reached the pinnacle of perfection. There were few opponents in the green realm who could match him. If Xinghui used the divine skill and the divine power of the Yang devouring bead, he would not be afraid of a Shakyamuni of the Jinwu religion. However, he had used the divine skill not long ago when he captured Lingyu alive. Even if Shakyamuni Laiji had taken 10 days to reach the sea, such a short time was not enough for the divine skill to cool down. Abandon Dragon-Slaying Island? No way. Xinghui's expression turned cold. If I kill Shakyamuni Laiji, I may be hunted down by the Jinwu religion. However, at the same time, I may be able to obtain the next cultivation method of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique from the Jinwu religion. Because of the cultivation method, it's difficult for us to be on good terms. If that's the case, if the Jinwu religion wants to come, let them come. Thinking of this, he immediately ordered Lingyu, go to Dragon Slaying Island as soon as possible. Go to Dragon Slaying Island? Lingyu's expression changed slightly. Sir, that's Shakyamuni Laiji of the Jinwu religion. Even if we work together to kill Shakyamuni Laiji, Dragon Slaying Island will never have a peaceful day in the future. Although the Jinwu religion is not as powerful as the Hunyuan Heaven sect, Shunshao Sword sect, Six Paths of Divinity and Demons, and Qingquan Holy Land among the 10 great sage sects, they still have more than 10 immortal stage 6 elders. If they send 1 or 2 of them to Dragon Slaying Island, they can easily destroy Dragon Slaying Island. The true overlords of the sea weren't human cultivators, but the extremely powerful sea beasts. If the Jinwu religion dares to send an immortal stage 6 elder here, they must be prepared to lose this elder. As long as 3 to 5 elders die, I'll see if the Jinwu religion still dares to come to Dragon Slaying Island. Lingyu's eyes widened when she heard this. Sir, you want to go against the Jinwu religion's anger? Just carry out my orders. Xing Hui's expression turned cold. Or do you mean that I can't order you around when I'm no longer in Wanxiang City? No. Lingyu hurriedly shook her head. After a while she said bitterly, all right, I'll go to Dragon Slaying Island now. Xing Hui responded. He did not bother to ask about the price of the primordial spirit qi. He immediately left the cave and ordered Yun Tao and Madame Zhuyu, who were standing outside the cave, return to Dragon Slaying Island at full speed. Chapter 174. The Holy Winged Draconic Eagle was a level 5 flying treasure, and its flying speed was much faster than ordinary warships. Even the Jinwu religion's special warships were no exception. In just 4 days, the Holy Winged Draconic Eagle's wingspan was close to 10 meters. It slowly landed on the square of Dragon Slaying Island. Dan Taiying and the others who heard the news immediately went forward to welcome it. Disperse all the flying teams on Dragon Slaying Island. In a few days, there will be a group of people from the Jinwu religion entering the territory of Dragon Slaying Island. I need to know their whereabouts as soon as possible before they arrive. At the same time, spread the news that the Jinwu religion has sent a group of people to sweep our waters and let the other island forces attack them spontaneously. Yes. After receiving the order, Dan Taiying responded and quickly left. Island Lord, the Jinwu religion has sent a Shakyamuni here personally. I'm afraid they won't let this matter rest so easily. Should we retreat? Anyway, to the many island forces overseas, as long as they have the strength, they can occupy a large island at any time. There's no need to be trapped in one place. Yun Tao asked softly, let's make a decision based on our discretion. If the Jinwu religion is too powerful, we can only temporarily avoid them. However, this is the final plan. Yes. Yun Tao responded and left. With the threat of the Jinwu religion, the entire Dragon Slaying Island quickly moved. One by one, the aerial knights rode their flying beasts and spread out in all directions of Dragon Slaying Island to scout for information. At the same time, as Qing Su purposefully spread the news that the people of the Golden Crow cult were about to arrive, the surrounding islands all felt threatened. Some islands even came to the Dragon Slaying Island and requested to join the Dragon Slaying Island, hoping to be protected by the Dragon Slaying Island. Xing Hui naturally ignored all of this. Finally, on the 2nd day after Xing Hui arrived at Dragon Slaying Island, which was also the 6th day after he left the mainland, the Jinwu religion's warship was discovered by the spies of Dragon Slaying Island. As the warship was extremely fast, when the spies of Dragon Slaying Island detected the warship, it was less than 100 kilometers away from Dragon Slaying Island. So fast. I thought that even if they rode a Type 5 battleship, it would take them at least 8 to 9 days to arrive. Who would have thought that in just 6 days, the Jinwu religion's battleship would arrive? It seems like the Jinwu religion is truly impatient to kill me and avenge elders Hong Yen and Hong Yang. After Xing Hui finished speaking, He didn't care about anything else and directly stood up. Follow me to meet the attack. With Xing Hui in the lead, Dan Tating, Yin Tao, and Madame Dogwood all rushed in the direction of the battleship. As for Ling Yu, because Xing Hui had taken away her rank 5 flying sword, and because her true chi had yet to fully recover, she had not arrived yet. At this moment, on a Jin Wu religion battleship about 60 kilometers away from Dragon-Slaying Island, a group of people appeared on the deck with vigilant expressions. However, this group of people wasn't led by disciplined King Liji. All of them were women, and they were the 3 Divine Chi Unity Stage experts who had followed disciplined King Liji's daughter, Lai Wuyang, Ruoying, Shiyang and Lanli. In addition to these 3 Divine Chi Unity Stage experts, there were several other Divine Chi Unity Stage experts on the battleship, and the leader of these Divine Chi Unity Stage experts was a peak master of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect Sky Origin. We'll reach Dragon-Slaying Island in another 60 kilometers, right? The master of Dragon-Slaying Island is a top expert. It's said that he relied on killing the master of Dragon Whale Island to rise to his position. He rules over thousands of kilometers of Dragon-Slaying Island, and has the ability to kill the master of Dragon Whale Island without letting him escape. He's at least at the intermediate Divine Chi Unity stage, or perhaps even at the advanced Divine Chi Unity stage. Junior Sister Wuyang, we have to be careful. The Sky Origin Peak Master stood on the deck and looked at Lai Wuyang, who was dressed in a fiery red robe and had a sexy figure, with a smile on his face. Of course, this little thief was able to escape with his life from my hands back then. Naturally, his cultivation is extraordinary. According to my estimations, the current him should be a bit stronger than before. Even I don't have the confidence to defeat him. As Lai Wuyang spoke, he glanced at the Void Origin Peak Master with a smile. Fortunately, we met the Void Origin Peak Master on the way here. With the Void Origin Peak Master's assistance, even if this little thief has heaven-defying methods, he will still die in the end. Our Hunyuan Heaven Sect and the Jinwu religion are currently cooperating, so our 2 sects naturally need to get closer. A small matter like this isn't worth mentioning. Of course, our Jinwu religion and the Hunyuan Heaven Sect have been on good terms for generations. If the Sky Origin Peak Master needs any help in the future, please don't hesitate to ask. Although Wuyang's words carry little weight, as long as it's something I can help with, Wuyang will not shirk my duty. Haha, Junior Sister Wuyang is too modest. Who in the world doesn't know that the Jinwu religion has given birth to a saintess who has cultivated divine-grade astral chi? With Junior Sister's talent, as long as you continue to grow, your future will be limitless. Once you step into the spirit and chi stage one day, you will practically be the future sect master of the Jinwu religion. If such a status is considered insignificant, then wouldn't my Sky Origin Peak Master be even less worth mentioning in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect? Lai Wuyang smiled faintly. Although the Sky Origin Peak Master was a peak master with limitless potential and a cultivation level higher than her, she, who had cultivated divine-grade astral chi, had potential that the Sky Origin Peak Master could not compare to. This was the basis for the 2 being on equal terms. Peak Master, someone's coming. They're coming on a sword very quickly. An old man behind the Sky Origin Peak Master suddenly spoke, his gaze fixed in the direction of Dragon-Slaying Island. Looks like our target has arrived. The ignorant are truly fearless. They can't wait to throw away their lives. The Sky Origin Peak Master sneered. You're saying, those people from Dragon-Slaying Island have taken the initiative to attack us? Lai Wuyang was taken aback. That's right, they've come at just the right time. Junior Sister Wuyang, just watch from the side. I'll take care of this little thief for you. The Sky Origin Peak Master smiled generously. Lai Wuyang considered the information he had received about Xing Hui's true strength. After a few moments of silence, he finally nodded. Very well. I'll have to trouble Senior Brother Sky Origin. I'll be here to support Senior Brother Sky Origin. While they were conversing, Xing Hui's group of 4 finally appeared in front of the Sky Origin Peak Master and Lai Wuyang. The Sky Origin Peak Master's face turned cold when he saw the 4 people flying over. It seems that the dragon-slaying island master has been doing quite well recently. He actually has a flying sword for each of them. Although there isn't much profit in the sea, there isn't much pressure from competition. With dragon-slaying island under his control, he must have plundered many treasures. Lai Wuxiang said. Now that he has a flying sword, it'll be troublesome if he tries to escape. The best way is to defeat him in one go. Long Hua, by Hua Lu Gui, you three are responsible for keeping the 3 Divine Qi Unity Realm cultivators by his side busy. I'll give him a fatal blow. Yes. The 3 Divine Qi Unity Realm experts behind the Sky Origin Peak Master shouted in unison. When Qing Su and the others rapidly drew closer, and were already right before him, the Peak Lord of Void Origin immediately called out, "Attack!" Rumble. A moment later, the image of a massive Kuan Peng appeared behind the Sky Origin Peak Master, its wings covering the sky and stirring up clouds and winds. Vast waves of energy swept in from all directions, forming a massive vortex over 300 meters in diameter above his head. Although the Sky Origin Peak Master had yet to cultivate divine quality stellar energy, he had awakened the Kuan Peng bloodline. Moreover, he had been cultivating the Black Hole Sutra all this time, so his power was earth-shattering. He was not at the Blue Netherworld realm, but he was even stronger. Not even the Jin Wu religion's Blue Netherworld elder Hunyuan could compare to him in terms of power. Thus, Qing Su's group of 4 flew over on their swords. They moved extremely quickly, but before they could reach the Golden Crow cult's battleship, the Kuan Peng figure that the Sky Origin Peak Lord had conjured had already erupted with a tremendous pressure. It made their expressions change. Kuan Peng. That's the divine beast Kuan Peng. What terrifying cultivation. He can even manifest the Kuan Peng image? Isn't that the Jin Wu religion's worship? Why is there a top expert cultivating the Black Hole Sutra on it? If we barge in recklessly, we'll be torn to shreds by the Kuan Peng image. Yin Tao, Madame Zhuyu, and Dan Tating all sucked in a breath of cold air. It was Tsing Hui who was taken aback by the Kuan Peng image that appeared on the Jin Wu religion's worship. When he saw the figure that had summoned the Kuan Peng image, he immediately understood the person's identity. Peak Master Sky Origin? He's actually here. And he's not piloting the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's worship. It's obvious that he doesn't want everyone to know about this. Moreover, there was no news from Nalim Fei beforehand. It seems that the Sky Origin Peak Master already suspects her. The Sky Origin Peak Master was an expert at the pinnacle of the Divine Qi Unite stage, who had cultivated Saint-grade stellar Qi. Coupled with his status as a Peak Master, he was likely equipped with many divine armors. In terms of battle prowess, he was comparable to an ordinary mid-green netherworld expert. If Tsing Hui had the divine art, he might have been able to put up a fight. But now, it was clearly not the right time. I wanted to save this trump card for Discipline King Lai Ji, but since it's not him, I'll use you to see if I can use this trump card. Tsing Hui instantly made up his mind. At this moment, the Sky Origin Peak Master had already swept across the space between the two and surged toward Zhou Yuan. He was using a high-grade Grade 5 divine sword. As he swung his sword, the surrounding space seemed to dance along with his sword, collapsing. Berserk air currents mixed with sonic booms descended. At first glance, it seemed that the space within a 30-meter radius around Tsing Hui had been shattered. However, Tsing Hui didn't have the divine art. Although he was inferior to the Sky Origin Peak Master, it didn't mean that he couldn't fight back. Clang! As a sword light containing boundless blazing aura surged into the sky, the silhouette of a golden crow appeared behind him. Together with a torrent of destructive power, it completely tore apart the space sealed by the Sky Origin Peak Master's sword. The golden crow sword pierced forward. As the sword light whistled, the golden crow and Kuan Peng images violently collided in the air. Chapter 175. This power, how is this possible? On the battleship of the Golden Crow cult, Lai Wuxiang looked at the terrifying figure of the Golden Crow that had appeared when the Green Ruin's sword stabbed out. Her pretty face was filled with disbelief. Such power. It's already reached the great perfection of the realm of aura. Just how long has it been since he obtained the Great Sun Golden Crow technique? Yet he's already reached the great perfection of the third layer. It was only because I cultivated divine-grade stellar energy that I became the holy maiden of the sect and received the essence of the Great Sun and other precious resources from the sect that I was able to achieve my current level of mastery in stellar energy. Peak Master Sky Origin, who was battling Tsing Hui, also jumped in fright at the sight of Tsing Hui's golden crow silhouette. The Great Sun Golden Crow art. Tsing Hui actually cultivated the Great Sun Golden Crow art. If he did not know that the Jinwu religion did not have the courage to go to war with the Hunyuan Heaven sect, he would have thought that Tsing Hui was a trap specially set for him. However, when he glanced at Lai Wuyang from the corner of his eye, who had a similarly shocked expression, he faintly guessed something. My black hole scripture has fallen into Qing Su's hands and was obtained by this kid. Lai Wuyang before me is obviously facing the same situation as me. And the reason she was impatient to head overseas to kill this kid, while only at the stellar energy realm, is probably because this kid obtained the solar golden crow technique in her possession. Rumble. While the Sky Origin Peak Master was slightly distracted, Tsing Hui struck out with the golden crow sword. The sword that could incinerate the void completely destroyed the Sky Origin Peak Master's frozen attack. His figure leapt into the air on his sword as he laughed. Ha ha ha. A Peak Master of the Hunyuan Heaven sect is only as a Sky Origin. If you immediately give me your divine weapon and compensate me with 1,000 spirit crystals, I can promise you that I will not spread your Black Hole Sutra to anyone else. Otherwise, not only will I make the first 4 layers of the Black Hole Sutra public, I will also inform the law enforcement experts of the Hunyuan Heaven sect and let them know that you were the one who leaked the Black Hole Sutra. You will become the eternal sinner of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Tsing Hui's shout caused the Sky Origin Peak Master's expression to change. Lai Wuyang and the others also came to a realization. They finally understood why the Sky Origin Peak Master had been so enthusiastic when he learned that they had come to kill the dragon-slaying island master. Lai Wuyang had previously thought that the Sky Origin Peak Master was interested in her, but now Tsing Hui had not only obtained the Jinwu religion's Great Sun Golden Crow art, but he had also obtained the first 4 layers of the Hunyuan Heaven sect's Black Hole Sutra. Brat, don't even think about spreading this news. Today you must die. No one can stop you. Sky Wings. The Sky Origin Peak Master flew into a rage out of humiliation when he saw that Tsing Hui had exposed his greatest secret. He roared as a pair of wings unfurled from his back. However, the wings were clearly not a flying treasure, but contained a mysterious ability to control the flow of air and distort space. Tsing Hui, who had risen into the air to escape the Sky Origin Peak Master's attack range and lure him to the Xuanwu cave dwelling, felt as if he had fallen into a quagmire in front of the mysterious power that could distort space and control the atmosphere. For a time, he felt as if he was struggling to move. It's the Sky Wings. There were no more than 10 of these unique treasures in the Hunyuan Heaven sect, and only those who had reached the Vice Sect Master level could be bestowed with them. Although the Sky Origin Peak Master has a chance of becoming a Vice Sect Master, he has yet to obtain the position. How could he have such a treasure? Shock flashed in Lai Wuyang's eyes, as if this was the first time he had seen the Sky Origin Peak Master. The Sky Origin Peak Master has leaked the 4th layer of the Black Hole Sutra, so he needs to kill everyone who has come into contact with the Black Hole Sutra before the consequences are exposed. Otherwise, if the Hunyuan Heaven sect pursues the matter, even a peak master like him may not be able to withstand the consequences. Hence, in order to ensure that nothing goes wrong, he must have paid a huge price to borrow the Sky Wings from one of the Vice Sect Masters, or even a Grand Elder. With the Sky Wings' ability to control the atmosphere, unless there is a huge gap in cultivation between the 2 parties, no one will be able to escape his hunt, said the mate standing behind Lai Wuyang Ruaing. The Sky Origin Peak Master has the Sky Wings. This brat is dead for sure, said Lonli confidently. However, her confident tone did not last long before her expression abruptly changed. The Sky Wings' mysterious ability to control the flow of air did indeed make Tsing Hui feel as if he had fallen into a quagmire, making it difficult for him to even move. However, the flying sword under his feet was not ordinary. It was a grade 6 flying sword. With a loud shout from Xinghui, the boundless sword intent that had climbed to the 54th step in his spiritual world endlessly poured into the flying sword. The flying sword shot out 10,000 rays of sword light, tearing a hole in the atmosphere seal formed by the sky wings, and charging out in an instant. A grade 6 flying sword? It's a grade 6 flying sword? How can an overseas cultivator have a grade 6 flying sword? Grade 6 flying swords are usually in the hands of the few saint stage ancestors, sect masters, or sect masters. Xinghui, a little spirit refining cultivator, actually has a grade 6 flying sword. Lai Wuyang, Sky Origin Peak Master, and the others could not help but exclaim at the same time when Xinghui used the grade 6 flying sword to tear apart the atmosphere domain formed by the sky wings. Junior sister Wuyang, since the two of us have the same reason to kill this kid, to avoid any unexpected variables, why don't we attack at the same time and kill him as quickly as possible? Once he escapes today and divulges the technique he cultivates, the two of us will surely face the blame of the sects behind us. Seeing that Xinghui was about to escape from the Sky Wings seal, the Sky Origin Peak Master panicked and hurriedly shouted for help to Lai Wuyang. All of you quickly attack. Lai Wuyang made a prompt decision and sternly ordered the 3 Spirit Chi Unity Realm experts beside him. Yes, upon receiving the order, the 3 Spirit Chi Unity Realm experts, with the exception of Ruoying, Shiyang, and Lonli, attacked at the same time with their flying swords. Blazing heat waves swept across the sky like 2 flaming meteors, crashing into Xinghui. However, Xinghui had the grade 6 golden flame armor and the grade 6 golden crow sword. Why would he fear the attacks of Shiyang and Lonli, 2 ordinary Spirit Chi Unity Realm experts? The instant the 2 flaming meteor-like sword lights pierced into Xinghui's body, the flaming aura on the surface of Xinghui's body suddenly surged, turning him into a 3-meter-tall flaming giant. Terrifying heat waves containing annihilation characteristics continuously erupted from his body, completely dissolving the attacks of the 2 Spirit Chi Unity Realm experts. The remaining flames, which did not diminish in momentum, engulfed the bodies of the 2 Spirit Chi Unity Realm experts, forcing them to retreat. Grade 6 armor? Lan Li and Shiyang, the 2 Spirit Chi Unity Realm experts, felt the might of the flames emitted by Xinghui's armor, were somewhat dumbfounded. Although they were experts personally selected by disciplined King Lai Ji to protect Lai Wuyang, in reality, their cultivations were only at the early and middle stages of the Spirit Chi Unity Realm. Moreover, as guards, their wealth naturally could not compare to the elders of the Jinwu religion. As a result, the weapons in their hands were only of the upper grade of grade 4. Divine weapons of this level could not even break through the defense of the golden flame armor. Damn it, a grade 6 divine weapon, a grade 6 flying sword, and now a grade 6 armor? A wandering cultivator from overseas actually has so many top-notch treasures on him. This kind of wealth is not inferior to the vice sect masters of the 10 great sacred sects, or even the sect masters, right? A trace of anger and jealousy flashed in the eyes of the Void Origin Peak Master. Against the fully armed Qing Su, he really did feel like he had no idea where to start. But even so, he had to fight with all his strength. Kuan-Peng swallowing the heavens technique. The Void Origin Peak Master took a deep breath, and the enormous Kuan-Peng phantom behind him spread its wings. Xinghui, who had just escaped from the domain of the wings of heaven, was immediately sucked into a huge whirlpool. Not only did the whirlpool contain a terrifying devouring power, it also contained a violent twisting force. Faced with this twisting force, even though Xinghui was wearing a grade 6 armor, he was still unable to defend himself. His entire body was violently twisted by this twisting force. Junior sister Lai Wuyang, since you dared to come and kill this kid, you naturally have enough trump cards. Hurry up and use them. My Kuan-Peng swallowing the heavens technique will not last for long. Once the secret technique stops, with the speed and sharpness of a grade 6 flying sword, we will not be able to trap him. The Void Origin Peak Master, who had activated the Kunpeng swallowing the heavens technique, roared. His body's chi flowed like a flood, endlessly pouring into the Kunpeng phantom behind him. In just a few moments, beads of sweat had already appeared on his forehead. It was obvious that he had exhausted too much of his chi. Senior brother's guess is correct. I do have something that can decide the outcome of this battle. It's an eternal blazing sun that the sect master specially bestowed upon me after I became the holy maiden. A true eternal blazing sun. Lai Wuyang transmitted her voice. A true eternal blazing sun? The Void Origin Peak Master's eyes lit up. This was the Jin Wu religion's greatest trump card. The reason why the Golden Crow sect was able to rank among the 10 great sects, even without a saint stage expert, was because of the eternal blazing sun's refining method, which was comparable to the Hunyuan heaven sect, the 6 paths of God and demons, and the Qingquan Holy Land. An eternal blazing sun was equivalent to an attack by an immortal realm level 6 expert with all his genuine chi. Once hit, the immortal realm level 6 expert would die. If more than 10 eternal blazing suns were to explode at the same time, even a saint-level expert would die. Junior sister Lai Wuyang, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and use it to kill him. Only by completely burning this boy's bones and scattering his ashes will we be able to preserve the secrets of our sects forever. It's not that I don't want to use it, but, senior brother, the eternal blazing sun is an area of effect attack. Once it's used, senior brother will be drawn into the eternal blazing sun's attack range regardless of friend or foe. At that time, senior brother's life will be in danger. The Void Origin Peak Master's expression changed slightly when he heard this, but after a while he gritted his teeth and said, "When I was promoted to Peak Master, the sect master gave me a protective talisman. The talisman contains a strand of our sect master's chi, and it can save my life at a critical moment. Therefore, even if I am in the eternal blazing sun's attack range, I will at most be seriously injured and will not be in danger of dying. Therefore, junior sister Lai Wuyang, use your eternal blazing sun to kill this boy and eliminate all future troubles." Chapter 176. Lai Wuyang no longer hesitated after hearing the Sky Origin Peak Master's words. She also wanted to kill Qing Su. It was not only because of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique, but also because she wanted to wash away the humiliation she had suffered back then. When she thought about how she had gone as far as to let Qing Su's true chi wander through her body recklessly, exposing all her secrets to him, Lai Wuyang felt extremely uncomfortable. She would not be able to eat or sleep in peace if she did not kill Xing Hui. "Senior brother Sky Origin, be careful," Lai Wuyang bellowed out, and in the next moment, she summoned a fiery red pearl. Powerful Golden Crow true chi surged into the pearl, causing it to turn into a streak of light as it shot towards Qing Su with unbelievable speed. Before the pearl had even arrived, the destructive power that had already been ignited within it had already erupted rapidly. "This is the eternal blazing sun?" Xing Hui, who was just about to struggle out of the Kunpeng swallowing the heavens technique, was shocked when he saw Lai Wuyang take out this item. "Die, Cho Xing Hui. Take your secrets and be buried forever in the nether hell." The Sky Origin Peak Master roared, as the Kunpeng swallowing the heavens technique was activated to its limits. At the same time, a protective jade talisman on his body shattered, revealing the image of a middle-aged man with a transcendent aura. Almost at the same time as this middle-aged man's image appeared, the power of the eternal blazing sun was completely detonated. In an instant, a terrifying destructive power erupted between Xing Hui and the Sky Origin Peak Master. Rumble! A deafening explosion instantly robbed the hearing of almost everyone present. The true eternal blazing sun was more than twice as powerful as the half-completed eternal blazing sun. It was as if a real star had exploded in the void, releasing a terrifying light that could blind anyone. The blazing light completely filled the sky, blinding everyone's vision. Tens of kilometers away, the people of Dragon Slaying Island could clearly see a round of sunlight exploding in the sky. The shockwave that could be seen with the naked eye completely tore apart the sky and clouds within a radius of tens of kilometers, creating a vacuum in the void. At the edge of the vacuum, a ring of air that could be seen with the naked eye slowly spread out in all directions, creating endless tornadoes and tsunamis in the void and the sea, destroying the world. This was a true war weapon used to destroy the world. Perhaps it was not as concentrated as an immortal stage 6 peak, or even a saint in terms of power, but in terms of its overall destructive power, no one in the immortal realm could compare. Through the eternal blazing sun, a special weapon of war, the Golden Crow sect displayed the most violent and terrifying side of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique in front of everyone. This was a vast and mighty force that was enough to make those at the peak of immortality state level 6, and even those at the Saint Realm gasp in amazement. Island Master? Eternal Blazing Sun. Eternal Blazing Sun. It's Golden Crow sect's Eternal Blazing Sun. It's... Dragon-slaying island is finished. In the blazing light, the desperate screams of the three divine chi uniting realm powerhouses could be heard. But very quickly, the screams were drowned out by the destructive torrent that exploded. Although the battleship of the Jinwu religion was not in the center of the eternal blazing sun, it was still like a lonely boat being swallowed by a tsunami when faced with the destructive energy of the eternal blazing Sunday. It was instantly sent flying. Countless Jinwu religion disciples, who were in charge of controlling the battleship, let out shrill screams as they watched the battleship being sent flying tens of kilometers away, before crashing into the sea, causing explosions and flames. Even if Lai Wuyang, Ruoying, Lanli, and Shiyang were flying on their swords and resisting the impact of this force, they were still swept away to the point of being blasted back several kilometers. The energy in their bodies undulated incessantly as they gasped for breath. That little thief wanted to escape at the critical moment, but he was restrained by the Kuan Peng swallowing the heavens technique and couldn't move. Therefore, it's equivalent to him being hit by the eternal blazing Sunday. He's dead for sure. That's right. No cultivator below the saint stage can survive after being hit by the eternal blazing Sunday. Even an eternal life stage 6 powerhouse who has activated their battle constitution is no exception. That little thief is dead for sure. I wonder how the Void Origin Peak Master's injuries are. If he also dies under the eternal blazing sun, the Hunyuan Heaven sect will never let this matter rest. At that time, even Miss won't be able to bear the responsibility, since the Void Origin Peak Master said that he has the protective talisman given to him by the sect master. It means that he has a certain degree of confidence in surviving the explosion of the eternal blazing Sunday. With his status, he wouldn't joke around with his life. Lai Wuyang and the others stared at the blazing light, unblinking as they waited for the final moment to be revealed. They weren't the only ones. The Hunyuan Heaven sect and dragon-slaying island members, who had managed to survive the energy shockwaves with great difficulty, also widened their eyes. They couldn't care less about their injuries. They understood that the life and death of Tsing Hui and the Void Origin Peak Master would directly determine their fates. Finally, a moment after the light dissipated, a figure suddenly charged out of the blazing torrent of destruction. The figure was clearly at the end of his rope. Not only was the protective armor on his body completely shattered, but he was also vomiting large mouthfuls of blood. Even though he had retreated on his sword, he was still on the verge of collapse. When he charged out of the torrent of destruction, he directly fell to the ground due to his relaxed state of mind. However, even though this person looked extremely miserable, the three Unity of Divine Energy experts, who had come with the Void Origin Peak Master, all revealed looks of pleasant surprise. It's Senior Brother Void Origin. The Peak Master is out. He actually managed to withstand the eternal blazing sun's explosion. Quick! The Peak Master's injuries are extremely serious. Quickly help him find a place to rest. Long Hua, Bai Hua, Lu Gui and the others shouted as they swiftly rushed towards Void Origin. They weren't the only ones. Lai Wuyang and the other three also swiftly came to the Void Origin Peak Master's side. Lai Wuyang said with a concerned expression, "Senior Brother Void Origin, are you all right? I have an ice dust pill here that is very effective in healing fire injuries. Quickly consume it, Void Origin Peak Master. You're the first person to withstand the eternal blazing sun's explosion with your divine Qi Unity stage cultivation. I admire you. Ruo Ying and the others praised from the bottom of their hearts. The Void Origin Peak Master took the ice dust pill and swallowed it. Supported by Long Hua, by Hua and the others, he finally stabilized his condition. Although he still looked extremely miserable, he didn't fall directly into the sea. I've made a fool of myself in front of junior sister Wuyang. The Jin Wu religion's eternal blazing sun is indeed worthy of its reputation. I thought that with the protection talisman sect master gave me, I should be able to withstand it. Who would have thought that I would still be so seriously injured and almost lose my life? This is my fault. If anything happened to senior brother Void Origin because of the eternal blazing sun, then I, Lai Wuyang, will have played with my life to blame. Fortunately, although I'm heavily injured, I didn't die. But now isn't the time to talk about this. Quickly check if that bastard is dead or not. The Void Origin Peak Master impatiently said. Lonely smiled and said, Peak Master Void Origin is worrying too much. Is there even a need to think about it? Peak Master has the protection talisman personally given to you by the Hunyuan Heaven Sect Master. Yet you almost lost your life on the spot. That kid is just a little spirit refining cultivator who was directly struck by the eternal blazing Sunday. How could he possibly survive? I estimate that he's already been blasted to smithereens by the eternal blazing sun's power. If you don't believe me, the eternal blazing sun's light has already dissipated. Peak Masterkin. When Lonli reached the end of her sentence, she naturally shifted her gaze to the empty space where the eternal blazing sun had exploded. However, when she truly saw the figure in the empty space where the light and flames had dissipated, her calm smile immediately froze. Lai Wuyang immediately sensed Lonli's abnormality and quickly looked in the direction of the eternal blazing sun's explosion. Soon, her eyes widened as she involuntarily cried out, "This is impossible!" What? Shi Yang, Ruoying, Long Hua, Bai Hua and the others turned their heads one after another, their eyes filled with shock. As for the Void Origin Peak Master, although he had already guessed something from their expressions, he still looked in the direction of the eternal blazing sun's explosion in disbelief. There, a faint fiery red barrier had appeared on the surface of Tsing Hui's body. The fiery red barrier had already dimmed and was on the verge of shattering. Even Tsing Hui, who was at the center of the barrier, appeared somewhat miserable. But that was all. Apart from his miserable state, Tsing Hui's aura didn't seem to have weakened much, let alone any injuries on his body. If it weren't for the Void Origin Peak Master's miserable state, and the fact that the atmosphere had been swept clean, Lai Wuyang and the others would have suspected that the eternal blazing sun's explosion was just an illusion. Impossible. This is impossible. Suddenly, the Void Origin Peak Master seemed to be unable to bear such a drastic change, and couldn't help but cry out, "This is impossible." The eternal blazing sun's power isn't inferior to an all-out attack from an immortal stage 6 powerhouse. In the face of such an attack, even the protective talisman that the sect master gave me was instantly destroyed. How could you be unscathed? Tsing Hui glanced at the Void Origin Peak Master, but didn't reply. The young Devourer Orb truly lived up to its reputation as a special treasure made specifically to deal with fire attribute damage. It was incredibly effective in blocking fire attribute damage, even though the energy shield it formed did not completely block the power of the eternal blazing sun. It was able to reduce the impact by 99%. Before the remaining 10% could cause any substantial damage to him. The golden flame armor he was wearing was neutralized by the high-grade 6-step armor he was wearing. It was precisely because of this that Tsing Hui appeared completely unscathed in the eyes of the crowd. Thinking back to the scene just now, he still felt a lingering fear. Fortunately, he had exchanged for the young Devourer Orb. Fortunately, the Jinwu religion had come to seek revenge. And fortunately, the eternal blazing sun was a fire attribute attack. Otherwise, with the Void Origin Peak Master's Kuanpeng swallowing the heavens technique trapping him, he would have died in the face of such a devastating attack. Whether it was a 6th-grade flying sword or a 6th-grade armor, they were of no use at all. Just now, he had brushed shoulders with the god of death. With this thought, Xing Hui's gaze towards Lai Wuyang, the Void Origin Peak Master, and the others exploded with biting cold killing intent. So what if you're the saintess of the Jin Wu religion? So what if you're the peak master of the Hunyuan heaven sect? Today, I will make you understand the price you have to pay for intercepting and killing me. Chapter 177. Not good. Lai Wuyang, Sky Origin, and the others paled when they saw Xing Hui charging at them with torrential killing intent. This was especially true for the Sky Origin Peak Master. He was already at the end of his rope, and even the protective talisman given to him by the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Sect Master had already been used. He no longer had any strength to fight, and despair filled his eyes when he saw Xing Hui charging at him. Why is it like this? That glowing red treasure on his body must be an even better protective treasure. That's why he was able to block the eternal blazing sun's attack. Run! Protect senior brother Sky Origin and leave. Go! Bai Hua, Long Hua, Lu Gui. And the others quickly reacted and shouted. Long Hua, who was the best at flying, immediately grabbed the Sky Origin Peak Master's shoulder and was about to retreat. You want to leave? Did you ask for my permission? Xing Hui roared. The grade 6 flying sword's speed made him unbelievably fast. With a series of sonic booms, he arrived behind Bai Hua, Long Hua, Lu Gui, and the others in the blink of an eye. The golden crow sword danced in the air, and a golden crow with a wingspan of several dozen meters abruptly appeared. It swooped down with a suffocating heat wave, suffocating everyone at the core of the attack. Young miss, be careful. Long Hua, take senior brother and leave first. Kid, let me see just how strong you are. Cries of surprise and alarm rang out from the Divine Chi Unity stage experts as Xing Hui approached. As Long Hua retreated with the Sky Origin Peak Master, Bai Hua and Lu Gui roared as their true chi surged, forming a thunderous attack that met the incoming Xing Hui head-on. Scram! Qing Su bellowed out and summoned the Scarlet Crow Soul. The golden crow sword that was slashing down suddenly split into two figures of golden crows. They produced resonant cries as they swept towards Bai Hua and Lu Gui, with surging streams of heat. Although the Scarlet Crow Soul could not be compared to the eternal blazing sun, it was equivalent to a miniature version of the eternal blazing Sunday. Any member of the upper echelon of the Golden Crow sect would only be able to grasp the method to create the eternal blazing sun after condensing the Scarlet Crow Soul. The power within every single Scarlet Crow Soul was equivalent to a full-powered strike from Qing Su, who had cultivated Divine Tier Gang Qi to perfection. Let alone regular Divine Qi Uniting Realm experts. Even late Divine Qi Uniting Realm experts, who did not specialize in defense, would die on the spot if they were struck head-on. Rumble! In an instant, the power within the Scarlet Crow Soul completely erupted, forming a torrent of destruction that swept out crazily, completely engulfing the bodies of the two Unity of Divine Qi Realm experts. Miss Wuyang, please help us stall for a moment. If anything happens to senior brother Yuan Kong, our Hunyuan Heaven sect will not let this matter rest. Long Hua could only place his hopes on Lai Wuyang and the others after seeing Xing Hui defeat Bai Hua and Lu Gui in a single exchange. But at this moment, Dan Tating, Yin Tao, and Madame Zhuyu on Dragon-slaying Island's side snapped out of their daze. Seeing Xing Hui withstand the explosive power of the eternal blazing sun and launch a counterattack, they could not contain their excitement. Kill. Act immediately, and assist the island master. Ha ha ha. A peak master of the Hunyuan Heaven sect? I've never killed such an existence in my life. If I can kill such an important person, it'll be enough to make my name known overseas. Your opponent is me. The three were equipped with flying swords and flew at full speed towards Lai Wuyang, forcing the three Divine Chi Unity stage experts on Lai Wuyang's side to meet them head-on. Miss, this little thief is stronger than we imagined. Leave quickly, and ask the Dharmaraja to personally take action. Miss, retreat quickly. Little thief. Lai Wuyang's eyes were filled with helplessness and despair as she watched Xing Hui chase after Peak Master Yuan Kong. She had originally believed that her battle prowess was no weaker than a regular mid-unity of spirit realm expert, since she had already reached the major accomplishment of divine tier stellar chi, so she had more than enough strength to take revenge. However, she had never thought that Qing Su would actually surpass her in the blink of an eye. Not only had he cultivated divine tier stellar chi, but his mastery of stellar chi was even greater than hers, having reached perfection. Moreover, he had even cultivated a scarlet crow soul. How was she supposed to fight him? But Lai Wuyang was a decisive person. Seeing that the situation was hopeless, she gritted her teeth and said, "Stop him." She summoned a high-grade grade 5 flying sword, turned around and fled. She did not even care about the fallen Jin Wu religion worship. Xing Hui was originally chasing after Peak Master Yuan Kong. After all, compared to Lai Wuyang, Peak Master Yuan Kong was a greater threat. By the time he recovered, he would not be a match for Peak Master Yuan Kong without divine techniques. But since Lai Wuyang had reached the spirit refining realm and had cultivated her stellar chi to great success, it was very likely that the Jin Wu religion had given her the cultivation method of the fourth layer of the Great Sun Golden Crow art. At present, although his mental strength had not reached the level where he could push his own Jin Qi to the level of spirit and Qi as one, he only needed to go to the Refining God Pavilion a few more times. The cultivation method of the fourth layer of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique was already imminent. If he let Lai Wuyang escape now, he could only think of a way in the Golden Crow sect if he wanted to obtain it again. However, the risk he would have to bear in that way was incomparable to the current situation. It's a pity that the Feather Moon has yet to arrive, and the Treasured Will barrier has been destroyed. Otherwise, neither of them would be able to escape death today. Xing Hui's expression turned cold. In the next moment, he turned around and chased after Lai Wuyang. "Young miss." Seeing this scene, Shi Yang, Ruoying, and the others cried out in alarm. Long Hua, who was running with Peak Master Yuan Kong, heaved a sigh of relief. Rumble! Sword chi filled the sky. When Xing Hui's gaze landed on Lai Wuyang, his attacks became even fiercer. Golden crows filled the sky, and endless light and heat were emitted from his body, rolling up scorching heat waves. Cho Xing Hui. Lai Wuyang let out a low roar as her figure turned around. The same golden crow energy continuously struck out from her hand, transforming into numerous golden crow shadows. However, even though Xing Hui's Sun Devourer orb had been damaged when blocking the eternal blazing sun's explosion, it was more than enough to deal with Lai Wuyang's attacks that did not exceed 50. Moreover, while blocking Lai Wuyang's attacks, the Sun Devourer orb was absorbing her extremely pure golden crow stellar chi to recover. At this rate, the Sun Devourer orb would be able to last for 3 to 5 days before recovering to its peak. No matter how Lai Wuyang counterattacked, he relied on the Sun Devourer orb and did not dodge. On the contrary, every single strand of sword chi from his body was able to inflict enormous damage on Lai Wuyang. Even though Lai Wuyang had become a holy maiden and been bestowed with a Tier 5 armor, she still could not block the edge of the Golden Crow sword. Bang! Along with the sudden collapse of the protective aura around Lai Wuyang's body, her entire body was like a falling meteor as she abruptly plummeted downwards. In the void, she had already spat out a mouthful of blood, and this was because Xing Hui wanted to capture her alive. Otherwise, it would not be as simple as just injuring her. However, Lai Wuyang was extremely decisive. Seeing that she could not outrun Xing Hui in the air, she actually took advantage of the momentum of the fall to shoot down at full speed, vainly attempting to plunge into the sea and use the boundless ocean to escape Xing Hui's pursuit. Will it work? Xing Hui's expression turned cold. In the next moment, the Tier 6 flying sword under his feet shot out, carrying a sharp edge that tore through the sound barrier as it brazenly pierced through Lai Wuyang. At the same time, he made a grasping motion, using the capturing technique he had learned from the Black Hole scripture, directly capturing Lai Wuyang, who had been pierced through by the sword light. Before Lai Wuyang could make any other counterattacks, the Tier 6 flying sword had already turned around and pierced through her back. She could not help but let out a painful scream. Miss Lai Wuyang. In any case, I have learned the Great Sun Golden Crow technique of your Jinwu religion. Whether I kill you or not, your Jinwu religion will definitely not let me go. Then, you should not doubt my determination to kill you. We can skip the nonsense. Right now, there is an excellent opportunity in front of us. Old rules: hand over the third layer of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique and above, and leave behind your armor, and I can let you live. Impossible. Even if I really hand over the third layer of the Great Sun Golden Crow technique, and above to you, I will still die without a doubt. Lai Wuyan's pretty little face was deathly pale. She stared fixedly at Xing Hui, her eyes filled with resentment. If neither you nor I say this news, who will know? The subordinates you brought? Those 3 Unity of Spirit Realm cultivators are loyal and devoted to you, so they won't spread this news. As for those ordinary cultivators, not many of them will be able to live. As for the remaining Peak Master of Origin Peak and Long Hua, they have secrets in your hands, so they won't dare to fight to the death. Besides, your identity as the saintess of the Jinwu religion is much more valuable than your identity as Peak Master of Origin Peak. Perhaps you will be punished for losing the Great Sun Golden Crow technique, but to say that you will be sentenced to death is a bit of an exaggeration. Therefore, there is no need for you to go to that step. You won't spread this news. Lai Wuyang suddenly raised her head to look at Xing Hui, a trace of disbelief in her eyes. Of course, I have already made an oath. Besides, what good would it do me to spread this news? It would only force your Jinwu religion to fight to the death with me. After all, once the upper echelons of the Jinwu religion find out that there is a non-cultivator of the Jinwu religion who has successfully cultivated the Great Sun Golden Crow technique, they will definitely not let this matter rest. Although Lai Wuyang felt that Xing Hui's words were somewhat unorthodox, she could not help but admit that what he said had a certain degree of credibility. What do you want? As I said, you have stepped into the spirit refining realm and become the saintess of the Jinwu religion. The Jinwu religion will definitely give you the next cultivation method, right? I want the Great Sun Golden Crow technique in your hands. Lai Wuyang immediately understood what Qing Su was thinking when he heard that. He could not help but sneer. You're right. The sect master has indeed bestowed me with the 4th layer of the cultivation method. I understand your plans now. You want to obtain the subsequent cultivation methods for the Great Sun Golden Crow technique from me endlessly. That's right, this is the value of your life. Otherwise, why do you think I will let you go? That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.